and walking up to meet the undercover officer. On multiple occasions, Pope sold the detective varying amounts of fentanyl or heroin and fentanyl. Some transactions were for as little as 2 grams, and one was for as much as 30 grams. Activists in Oakland, California, have ramped up efforts to take a first step toward limiting the impact of federal programs that militarize local police. Activist Post reports that American Friends Service Committee will host a community town hall on policing and military equipment Thursday in support of efforts to pass a city ordinance requiring approval by the Oakland City Council for the acquisition of military equipment and use policies and reporting for military equipment that the Oakland Police Department has or obtains in the future. AFC points out that Oakland has no policy for the acquisition or use of militarized equipment, and Oakland police can acquire and use military equipment of all kinds anywhere at any time, with no policy for its use or public reporting of what it has or how it's used. The organization says that several studies conclude that police departments that acquire military-grade equipment are more likely to use violence and are no more successful in reducing crime. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A fully leveled up video game character marvels at how far he's come, and the milk rushing through a jug handle is having the time of its life. This is The Onion Week in Review. This week, top executives from the U.S. financial sector announced they're about ready to ruin the world again. Representatives from all major banking and investment institutions said that more than enough time has passed since they last caused a major global economic meltdown, and confirmed they're pretty much fully prepared to bring about a brand new worldwide financial crisis.
We feel like we've given people enough time to get comfortable again. Consumer spending has increased. Housing market has rebounded. So yeah, we're all set to go ahead and ruin the global economy again.
And in other news, the perfect gift for a local man is unfortunately a gift certificate to Lowe's Cinemas. Mall shoppers look on in awe as a helpless 15-year-old girl is viciously torn apart by a pack of her peers. And a drunk pilot decides to pull over onto a cloud until he sobers up. You will now hear 3 gong strikes and a recitation of the great chant before being ushered to the hallowed garden. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
It is Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Open phones, as always. You are invited to talk about anything that you want. We also have our Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And if you go into one of those rooms, you'll sound way better than you would if you were on our phones. With you here in the studio, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
So, of course, you can bring up anything that you want. Coming up here tonight, found this one actually in our Discord server. One of the rooms there is a news stories show prep room, and I got to say, some of the best stuff comes from you guys out there. It was Mark Digital HD who says California is going to ban what appears he believes they're going to be banning e-cigarettes. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, Juul, which is, as you may be aware, the big name in e-cigarettes, nicotine vaporization, they are abandoning support for Proposition C. Now, what is that? It's a ballot measure in San Francisco, apparently. The vaping company has spent millions of dollars promoting through political ads, election mailers, and canvassers. Proposition C will still appear on the ballot on November 5th. If approved, it would overturn a San Francisco ordinance suspending the sale of e-cigarettes in the city and replace it with regulations supported by Juul, meaning Juul wrote the regulations, basically.
Well, I mean, I wonder who writes those other regulations that are going after e-cigarettes. Do you think that the tobacco companies might have something to do with those?
Could be. Well, guess who owns 35% of Juul?
Well, Philip Morris, right?
Is that who's behind Altria, or is it the other way around? Altria Group is one of, I think it may be Philip Morris.
I'm not sure exactly.
I don't know if Altria owns Philip Morris or Philip Morris owns, it's one of these corporate shell games.
Right.
But Juul is headquartered in San Francisco, and in a statement issued Monday evening, Juul said the move comes as part of a company-wide review by their new CEO, whose appointment was announced last week after the other guy walked.
Right.
It means Juul will not put any additional money into the Proposition C campaign called the Coalition for Responsible Vaping Regulation. Juul is the sole founder of the measure. The coalition says it plans to wind down campaign activities by the end of the week. Why do you think that all of a sudden they've decided to completely change direction on this? The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. Are they just basically just giving up ship, just saying, well, we're done here, we can't possibly win this? Maybe they've done opinion polling or something like that, or they're just absolutely certain they're throwing money down a hole, because so far Juul has spent $18.6 million on this campaign. Now, mind you, this is just San Francisco we're talking about. They're not spending $18 million trying to influence a California-wide ballot measure. This is just the city of San Francisco. Is it because they believe that as goes San Francisco, so will go the rest of the state, or perhaps the rest of the country? Meaning, this is the first real, big city crackdown that they can fight, or that they are fighting. Of course, there was also Michigan that has, I believe, banned the sale of e-cigarettes, if I'm not mistaken.
Flavored.
Is it just the flavored ones?
I think it was just flavored.
Okay. Yeah, and this one, I believe, applies to all. So yeah, this ordinance so the ordinance is already in. The proposed ballot measure would overturn the existing ordinance. So as of right now, the sale of e-cigarettes in the city of San Francisco is suspended. Now, I don't know for how long this particular ordinance lasts. And if you are in the San Francisco area and you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. Any money from Juul that the campaign has already received but not yet spent will be returned to Juul. They've contributed, again, $18.6 million to the campaign. The campaign has spent about $10.5 million and has $1.3 million in unpaid bills. So that's about $7 million that will be returned to Juul. Maybe they must have figured that they could do something else with $7 million than fight what they may be considering to be a losing battle. You've got, I believe, New York State, Massachusetts has put on some sort of a moratorium on sales of, I believe, flavored e-cigarettes. And let's see, this is their new CEO saying in a statement, quote, "I'm committed to seeing that Juul engages productively with all stakeholders, including regulators, policymakers, and our customers." Which is funny because regulators aren't really stakeholders, right? Like, they don't actually own a piece of your company in any sort of meaningful way. They don't have stock. They're not actually holding stake in your company, but they certainly have sway over whether or not you're going to survive the next quarter or the next half a year. Because if their regulations, crack down and you go out of business. So, I mean, they're not the kind of people you want holding a stake. But unfortunately, they're actually holding a gun or a whip, however you want to look at it, and they're wielding it against you.
S-T-A-K-E.
Right, through the heart. The decision, he says, does not change the fact that as a San Francisco founded and headquartered company, we remain committed to the city. Wow. I mean, just the loyalty to a municipality that has no such loyalty to you. They don't care about Juul. Yeah, they hire some people, right? They're employing people. But how many of the people that Juul is employing actually live in San Francisco? I mean, if you're smart, you work in San Francisco and then you live outside of San Francisco, right? I mean, I don't know if you've seen the housing prices in San Francisco, but I believe they're some of the worst in the entire United States. There may be, maybe Seattle's competitive with them. I'm not sure, but I've heard San Francisco's the absolute worst for housing prices. You go out into the surrounding areas, it's still going to be bad, but it's not going to be as bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Even, I mean, I was living, for a while. I lived in Los Gatos, California, which
where is that?
About 30 minutes south of San Fran, maybe 40.
How long ago?
This was 2000 and 11 or 12, I think.
Not
just
quite a decade. Not
yeah,
quite.
yeah, just before I moved.
Mhm.
That it was $6,000 a month rent on what was a 2 or 3 bedroom house.
$6,000 a month sounds like it should be a mansion to me. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it was a tiny, it was like a little, yeah.
And you must have been sharing it with people.
It was probably a little smaller than this house.
Okay.
I mean,
you mean the duplex?
This side.
The side of the duplex.
The side
okay,
of the
okay,
duplex, yeah.
So were you sharing it with like 2, 3, 4 other people? How many people were in there?
Well, it was the one guy his place who it was, and I was staying there, and he decided to house a Chinese programmer. I don't know, there was some sort of work program that, so this guy was staying with us, and he had his own like little room or whatever.
This sounds like it's right out of Silicon Valley.
Oh, it was very much out of Silicon Valley. I mean, and it basically was
Which
Silicon
is an
Valley.
HBO TV show for those that don't know. It's
and
very
in
funny.
fact, this guy turned down a job. The guy who I was staying with turned down a job at Zynga.
Okay,
If you remember
which is an
Zynga.
app maker. They make the games.
The games app maker. So
Right.
And this is before Zynga became huge, so he made a mistake.
Oh,
I
well,
think,
you never know.
But that guy owes me a lot of money, so screw
man.
him.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, I've never lived out there. I don't know what it's actually like.
Right.
How long were you there for?
About 8 months, I think, roughly. Yeah.
And why'd you leave?
Because he wasn't paying me.
Okay, that'll do it.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay,
See you later.
Bye. Yeah.
So if you've been out there and you want to weigh in, you're certainly welcome to do so. But the point wasn't so much to talk about real estate as it was to show that, you've got basically Juul up against the city of San Francisco gang, the criminal gang known as the city of San Francisco. And San Francisco's city council are basically telling Juul, yeah, we think you're the enemy. We're going to target you. We've targeted you with an ordinance that bans the sale of your products. And yet the CEO is still talking about how they're committed to San Francisco. And so, according to the story here, Proposition C, this is, by the way, from the San Francisco Chronicle, their advertisements were being investigated by the FDA as part of a broader probe into, or by the agency, into Juul's practices, including marketing tactics that regulators believe were targeting youth. The company last week said it would suspend all print, broadcast, and digital ads, but did not say at the time whether the Juul-funded political ads would also be suspended. But it sounds like they are, because they're abandoning their campaign. More on the attack against vaping. It's happening across the country. It's Free Talk Live.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynovite.com.
With just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet.
It's the Onion Radio News. God loses his decision-making coin. This is Doyle Redland reporting. The Lord God has confirmed that he has misplaced his special decision-making coin. The coin, a relatively unremarkable 1972 nickel, has been used almost daily by the Supreme Being for over 4 billion years for the purpose of determining everything from the direction of the wind to the outcome of history. The visibly distraught God added,
I have no idea where I put it. I remember flipping it last night for a couple in Monroe, Michigan who were trying to conceive a child, but I haven't seen it since.
God also said he hopes to locate the coin before 7:15 Thursday morning when United Flight 251 takes off from Seattle with actress Dixie Carter on board. Doyle Redland for the Onion Radio News, online at theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. My number for you, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That'll get you on the line. You can talk about the crackdown happening in various different places across the United States: San Francisco, New York, Michigan, Massachusetts, probably others that I don't know about. Maybe it's happening near you. A crackdown against arguably a technology that is helping people, that's helping cigarette addicted, nicotine addicted people who are and have been using cigarettes for, in many cases, years of their lives. Chris Reitman, who's our Thursday night co-host, he was, I believe, a 30-plus year cigarette smoker.
Right, and people who aren't able to vape, where do they go? They turn back to cigarettes.
They're going to go back to cigarettes. They're not
It's
going to
not that they're going to. It's that's what's proven to happen. I
Absolutely.
mean, you can witness it and see it in these places where vaping stuff is banned. A whole bunch more smokers happen, and then you look into it and you see that, who is sponsoring this legislation? Who is hiring the the people who are going to be activists for this legislation?
The cigarette companies.
Yeah, the cigarette companies. What is that? My brain is failing to come up with the people that try to get laws passed.
Activists.
Not activists.
Lobbyists.
Lobbyists,
Yeah.
that's what it is. The people who are lobbying for these laws to pass, they're working for the tobacco companies in many cases. You find the clear link, you follow the money, and they stand to make a whole lot of money by getting this stuff shut down because there is a lot more competition, right, in the space in the vape
e-cigarette.
space. Yeah, in the e-cigarette space, there's a lot of competition. Whereas in the tobacco world, it's pretty much a lot of it's
the few old companies.
Yeah, major corporations that have been established, and there's only a few of them.
Right. They don't like competition. That's why they bought out a portion of Juul, and they are, from what I understand, the big cigarette companies do have their own e-cigarette kind of products now. They were late to the game on it, but they do have them.
But just having a product isn't the same if there's lots of competition, right? They don't want competition for their...
Right.
It's harder to compete in a market where there's competitors.
Right, and I think
when they've had years and years and years of government regulations to shut down all of their opponents
in the cigarette
world, they want to be in the cigarette world.
Well, they do, but they also, if e-cigarettes are going to continue existing, and they will, they want to be in charge of that too.
Well,
right?
yeah, of course.
So that's why, what you've seen here is, or what you're probably going to see, and I forget which Free Talk Live host predicted this. The suggestion is that eventually the federal government is going to come down with some regulations. The FDA is going to come out with a set of rules for these e-cigarettes, which have been largely untouched by them up until this point. And then, of course, the big cigarette manufacturers who already have their e-cigarette options and already have a ton of attorneys and a bunch of money are going to be able to put their products into the regulatory, framework, right? And they're going because they're going to help write it. So they're going to put their products into the regulatory framework. They're going to grease the wheels with as much money as they need to make sure that their products get out first, right? They get passed, they get the approval first. Oh, see, we're responsible here at Philip Morris. We don't have those fancy flavors. We're not trying to attract children. All of our e-cigarettes only taste like tobacco. We're responsible members of our community.
And then once all these regulations are passed, then they'll change it. And they'll be like, we found that adults are the only ones who are actually using these.
Well, maybe.
It'll go back to, what's normal and sensible because the money is there for those things.
Well, but if they do manage to run all their competition out of business, they don't have to go back to flavors.
They don't have to, but the money is there for them to do so.
True.
So they will, eventually.
Yeah. We'll see how it all shakes out. But right now, the latest news, and we'll get back into that, is what's happening in San Francisco, which is one of the flashpoints because that's the home turf of Juul and also the place where the city council is cracking down and has suspended sales of all e-cigarette products, but you can continue to sell smoked tobacco, no problem. But by the way, I do want to let you know about something that's going on here tonight. Maybe you've heard of Chrisanne Hall. She's a former Florida attorney and former prosecutor who was fired after teaching the Constitution. Even though she was ordered not to by her boss, state attorney Skip Jarvis, she would not stop and stood up for liberty over a paycheck. Tonight is the night that you can attend a free webinar with Chrisanne Hall at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight at lfu.freetalklive.com. LFU stands for Liberty First University. Chrisanne's a disabled veteran of the U.S. Army, Russian linguist, mother, and a patriot. She now travels the country and teaches the Constitution and the history that gave us the founding documents. Chrisanne Hall doesn't just teach the Constitution, she lays the foundations that show how reliable and relevant our founding documents are today, and she presents the genealogy of the Constitution, which is a 700-year history and 5 foundational documents that are the very roots of American liberty. Her belief is you can't properly understand or interpret the Constitution without a firm grasp of its very foundation. You don't want to miss a special event tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern at lfu.freetalklive.com. That's lfu.freetalklive.com. So this proposition that Juul had produced, had put forth, had written for San Francisco, which would overturn the San Francisco ban, but I'm sure with all kinds of regulations and rules that Juul has created, Juul's now walking away from this campaign after spending $10 million on it. With another $7 million that's just sitting there that they're going to get back, I guess, once they scuttle the campaign. The stories from the San Francisco Chronicle saying their new CEO, because the previous one walked, maybe the previous CEO saw the writing on the wall and figured he would go ahead and take his golden parachute now before Juul starts to really, get hurt, because they're already doing what they can to make themselves seem very obedient to the state. Juul would like the state agents, not just in California, but in all of the 50 states, and certainly the federal government's regulatory gangs, to believe that they're obedient, that they are really, it was a mistake. We didn't mean to have all these delicious flavors to attract people to our products. We're going to be serious now. We're going to really just whittle it down to just tobacco and menthol. We're good now, so please leave us alone. Well, I don't know if that's going to work.
No, of course not.
Yeah. According to the story here, they've been investigated by the Food and Drug Administration. Juul's about face is believed to be the first time a corporation has invested millions into a San Francisco ballot measure only to withdraw its support shortly before the vote. And this is according to a political consultant who teaches law in San Francisco. In the rare instances when a ballot measure backer has withdrawn their effort before an election, it was because the issue was resolved or the measure became moot. He says, quote, "This is historic, a colossal failure of a ballot measure campaign that will go into the history books as a cautionary tale for corporations attempting to use the ballot box this way in the future." But it's, of course, totally fine for the corporation known as the City of San Francisco to use their political means in order to foist their way upon the people in that particular political jurisdiction. Because it is important to remember that governments are corporations too. And they're the worst sort of corporations. They're the kind of corporations you can't ignore.
Right.
If you want to ignore Juul, you can ignore Juul. You don't have to buy their products. I mean, you might see them as you're shopping in your favorite convenience store, but you don't have to pay any attention to them. Whereas with the government, if you don't pay attention to them, they'll have a man come by and stick a gun in your face. They demand your attention.
But seeing their products in the stores is offensive, and I have a right to not be offended. Ever. Nothing should ever be in my purview that's awful.
You do sound like someone from San Francisco there. 855-450 free. It's Free Talk Live. More
History classes start teaching the Constitution around 1776. The foundation of our Constitution goes deeper than that. Without examining the context that gave America its principles and its founding documents, we cannot understand the foundation of our liberty and our constitutional republic. Liberty First University teaches online classes in a way that all ages find compelling, from middle school to law school. To learn more, join us at lfu.freetalklive.com for more details and your invitation to a free webinar on Tuesday at 8 p.m. That's lfu.freetalklive.com.
Divvy is crypto made easy. Anyone can use Divvy to securely and seamlessly spend, earn, store, or exchange digital money, the US dollar, and euros. Divvy is fast. Transactions happen in seconds with fewer fees. While other altcoins are languishing, the Divvy price has risen substantially against BTC. Now's the time to make a switch to Divvy or make your start with cryptocurrency with Divvy. Visit DivvyProject.org. Divvy is crypto made easy. Plus one-click masternodes. DivvyProject.org. Again, DivvyProject.org.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams. Most of you know me as a talk show host, but I'm also an author, actor, single father of 4, a fitness writer, avid snowboarder, and I'm also a medical marijuana patient. Like many of the million people who are living with multiple sclerosis, I'm in pain every single day. And sometimes my nerves are so raw that if you brushed up against me in an elevator, I'd scream. I can't sleep at night from the pain, and sometimes the spasms in my legs are so intense they will wake me up throughout the night. I've tried the strongest prescription medications available, and I'm going to tell you, they do not work. In fact, they leave me in a stupor, and most of the time, it's impossible to even live your life. Now, I've tried medical marijuana, and I'm going to tell you something, it works. If you'd like more information about medical marijuana, you can contact the Marijuana Policy Project at mpp.org or call 1-877-JOIN-MPP.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You bring up what you want. Dial toll free. Here are numbers: 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. They're over at discord.lrn.fm. In fact, that's where we're going to next. But with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
Also, want to make sure you know about local.bitcoin.com. Today was the day, the big day, that on the other site that has been around for years, that has been selling Bitcoin BTC for years, they finally cracked down today and mandated that all of their buyers and sellers go through what they call KYC, which stands for Know Your Customer process. It's been coming, like they've been warning people about it over the last several months, and I guess October.
As the Bitcoin's price has been going down and down and down.
You mean as it's been going up and up and up?
It's been going down recently.
Well, I mean, it's went back up like $500 or $400 yesterday. It's at like 84 or 8,300 today.
I've not been paying
over
attention
the last year, though, Johnson. It's trended upwards. I think
yeah,
it started
over the last
year.
year.
Like
the year before was brutal.
Sure.
This past year has been great.
It's been pretty good. Yeah, if you got in earlier this year and you held on, you're probably pretty happy right now. But this other site that local.bitcoin.com is competitor with, they are the big one, right? They're the big site, the king of the hill, if you will.
Right.
It was like a wasteland today on that site. Like half of the sellers dropped out. And I don't know, obviously they're not going to publish all their data about how many people are using their site now, but I can tell you some of my, because I sell on the other site, and some of my regular customers sent me messages saying, yeah, I can't use the site anymore. Can I trade with you directly?
Right.
So they're going to be losing some serious revenue over this. If you want a website where you can trade Bitcoin Cash with dozens of payment methods and do it without having to show the site your identification, you can do that over at local.bitcoin.com. You don't ever have to show ID to the website to create an account there and use an account there because they don't hold your coins. They don't hold your Bitcoin Cash. It's all done through smart contracts. You have control over your currency, and it's totally different. It's also private because communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. So right now, people are looking for another option to buy and sell cryptocurrency with cash and other options like, prepaid cards and things like that. PayPal, Venmo. Local.bitcoin.com has that. That's local.bitcoin.com. So coming up here tonight, Harvard, a big lawsuit, I guess, has challenged their admissions process, and it has to do with favoring certain ethnic groups over others.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
They share views with Cantwell.
With Chris Cantwell, the Nazi.
Yeah.
So
they have Nazi views over Harvard.
We'll tell you more about it. And apparently a judge thinks that's okay.
Yeah. The government has some Nazi views too.
I'm sure they do. Yeah. We'll get into that on the way here. Plus, we've been talking about Juul and them just basically completely backing down in San Francisco. If you were looking to Juul, if you're an e-cigarette user and you were looking to Juul to stand up for you, sorry. Even though the tobacco company, Altria Group, I think it was, bought 35% of Juul, they don't have a controlling interest, but they got a significant interest. And, whoever else is involved has obviously decided that snuggling up to the regulators is their best chance for survival. And it's the same old story again and again and again, just in different industries. You be buddies with the regulators, pay them off, make sure they write the language in the regulations the way you want the language written to keep out all those upstarts and those innovators from the industry. And then that's when you see companies like, let's say, Uber or Lyft, also who were innovators in their industry, they also buddied up with the regulators, and they were writing the ordinances or the laws that deal with what they, there's always a legal term for everything. I think it's transportation network companies, TNCs. That's the legalese term for the rideshare companies. So guess who's writing a lot of that legislation in that business? It's Uber, and probably Lyft too. So the innovators become the establishment, and then they want to lock out any new upstart innovators from coming in. So if you want to comment, you can here. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. We do have Gene, the Christian anarchist, on our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. He's in Tennessee. Go ahead, Gene.
Hey, guys. I wanted to talk about authority.
Okay,
and
yes.
This is something that a lot of people have difficulty with because it's both simple and it's complex. It's complex in that people tend to make it complex, but in reality, authority is pretty simple. If somebody has authority over you, they have to show from where this authority comes from. And this is where all authority breaks down. In the old days, the kings said they got their authority from God, and nobody could question that because how do you go to that line of authority and prove or disprove that there's some kind of link between God and the king?
Well, plus, if you question the king's claim, then you'd probably be executed.
Right. And this is just violence. So violence, I think we can all say that violence is not authority. If it is, then we're living king of the jungle, and whoever's got the biggest hammer gets to be the king, the biggest club. So I think that we're beyond might makes right. At least I would hope so. I don't think that most people accept that claim anymore. But if you question where the authority comes from, take our government, for instance. Now, if you're in a government where there's a king like England, well, then that king still claims that they get their authority from God. But here we claim that the government gets authority from where? From we the people, right? So now you have to show the chain of authority, how this chain of authority gets passed from the people that rightfully hold the claim to those who claim that they're exercising that authority. Now, who has authority over each individual? Well, we believe in self-ownership in this country, at least we used to once upon a time, which means that everybody is the authority over themselves. So in order for me in order for somebody to claim authority over me, I have to delegate this authority to someone else.
Like if you were going to hire a dominatrix, for instance, you would tell the dominatrix that you would like to be whipped and threatened, or whatever it is that you want the dominatrix to do to you. You would give her the authority to act in that way towards you.
Now, wait a minute, Ian. She said she wasn't going to say nothing. Was she talking to you?
I don't know if we should go any further with this.
Anyway.
She signed the social contract.
So I have to give that authority to somebody else. And I can prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that I never gave authority to Donald Trump or the governor of the state or
you can't prove a negative.
Sergeant.
What they can't do is prove that you did, right? If their claim is...
Well, I mean, I can certainly testify that I never gave them authority.
You could do that.
So now that puts the ball in their park.
Right. They need to produce some kind of evidence to prove that you actually did consent to their rules.
Now, the best they can come up with is this nonsense about a social compact or a social contract.
Right.
And of course, we've all proven that this is just non-existent. There is no such thing as a social contract. Yet people still believe this.
Yeah, but I think that they've realized. I mean, the problem is that for me, hearing this argument that I've heard over and over and over again, is that I think it's come to the point of where they don't have to prove anything because people don't care. So it's at the point where they go, yeah, whatever you say, get on your hands and knees, put your hands behind your back, whatever. You did something we don't like. They don't have to prove anything anymore. I feel like it's gotten to that point.
They don't, and they are basically just goons, which is why I call them the Goonermen. And those are goons, and goons use force to get everything they want. So when you run across a goon, you better just do what the goon says or you're going to get hurt.
Stand by,
Or,
Gene. I don't know if you had more to
avoid-
say, but if you did, stand by. We'll bring you back here for that. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's Gene, the Christian Anarchist. He is in our Discord server, and you can join him and us there over at discord.lrn.fm. You'll sound... I mean, he sounds like he's sitting here in the studio with us. It sounds awesome. Ian and Johnson here. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number if you want to join us. That way, it's Free Talk Live.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get to Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 800-590-4930. 800-590-4930. 800-590-4930. That's 800-590-4930.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733 tonight. It's Ian here.
And Johnson.
We are going to get into this issue that is coming out of Harvard. There's been a court decision regarding their admissions policy. I will tell you what that's all about coming up here in moments. If you want to join us, 855-450 free. Gene the Christian Anarchist is here with us, and he's on our Discord server talking about the idea of authority. And Larkin Rose wrote a really great book on this. It's called The Most Dangerous Superstition. And one of the things I really like about the book, besides that it's kind of like an eye-opener for people that may not have ever considered or really thought too hard on the idea of authority, because we're just trained to accept it. From day one, if you go to a government school or government indoctrination center, whatever you want to call it, you're told that this is the way things are, that those teachers are in charge of you, and that those administrators are in charge of them, and that there's the school board on top of that, and then the government, state government on top of that, and the federal government. There's a hierarchy, kids, and you're on the very bottom level, and we will tell you what to do, and you will do what we say, or we'll paddle you. Remember when they had paddles in schools? They still have them in some places.
Yeah.
They have not gotten rid of paddles entirely. So the idea of authority has always been backed up by some kind of violence, right? Where whether it's the men with the guns calling themselves the police, or it's the taskmaster with the whip sitting on horseback cracking a whip over you as you're, being forced to do whatever slavery, picking cotton or whatever, or it's some lunatic sicko principal with a paddle with holes in it, that he relishes using on children because he's a sick effer. There's always some sick, violent psychopath that's sitting behind all of these rules and this whole hierarchical structure. Gene, the Christian Anarchist, you're back on with us. Go ahead.
Wait, before you move on,
Yes,
I based on what you said, you were talking about the paddle and corporal punishment.
Yeah.
I just, on a whim, had to do a search. Student deaths from school shootings were examined across all 50 states according to state policy on the use of corporal punishment in schools after controlling for associated differences in poverty rates and the prevalence of conservative Christian religions. There were significantly more school shooting deaths found in states allowing school corporal punishment compared with those that do not. What a surprise, right? When the government is, the first to violence that... because
that's what you're teaching.
Yeah, sure, that's what you're teaching, right? So,
if violence
you
is
teach
your
that
tool,
it's okay to use violence on people, and so the kids go, oh, well, okay, it's okay to use violence.
If violence is your tool, if that's your example, that's the thing that you do, then you shouldn't be surprised when you're emulated. When people say, oh yeah, that seems to work.
Yep. This is the way to solve problems.
This is the way to sculpt society. This is the way to do things, get people to do the things I want them to do. And they're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just not authorized, C. Johnson. They're not authorized to use violence. If they would just go ahead and become a police officer.
But neither is the government. As if you are a rational person,
correct,
you realize that the government's not either. So if they're not authorized and you're not authorized, what does it matter who uses the violence?
I think that's the point.
If it's a matter of morality, right, then you would know already it's not okay to use violence.
Correct.
But because they don't believe that way, right? They don't believe it's a matter of morality. They don't ever get to that point, right? Then it's okay.
Well, I think that's one of the things that you've been driving at here, Gene. Go ahead.
And that is when the authority breaks down, this fake authority, the false authority that they have. Their authority breaks down when the people rise up in violence against them, just like any other country. Mm-hmm. When the people have finally had enough and they rise up and say, you know what, you're not the boss of me.
We want new bosses. We want this boss.
That's when their so-called authority falls and becomes just a puff of smoke, which is exactly what it is. It's just a puff of smoke. And only when the people realize that they don't have that authority and that they are their own authority, that's when it goes away. And that's been the case throughout history.
Well, but has it? I mean, because they've always replaced one regime with another regime.
So I've been talking about this a lot lately because I've been having conversations and, especially with the way things have been going and the cancel culture and all this stuff that's going on. And I've claimed for
Cancel
a long
culture?
time. Cancel culture. You've heard of cancel culture, right?
I feel like maybe I've heard of it.
Wow.
Refresh
I can't
me on
believe
that.
you haven't talked about cancel culture.
I
So,
think
for
maybe I
example,
have,
Richard Stallman recently would be a victim of cancel culture.
Oh, canceling accounts, that kind of thing?
Canceling people, canceling ideas.
Okay.
It's cancel culture. So it's the idea that you can just shut people up.
Right.
Like Free Talk Live is bad.
Deplatforming.
We're going to make sure that you don't get any money from anyone. We're
Get
going
them
to
off
contact all
YouTube,
you.
get them off. I see. Okay.
Everywhere. We're going to make sure you're shut down. Right. So cancel culture. So this is the thing, right? This is the idea, and my thought is that these people are becoming increasingly aggressive and violent. You can't have logical conversations with them. And I'm hearing, conservative people. There are some conservatives that I listen to a little bit to hear some of their content. People like Crowder or Peterson. Even occasionally, as horrible as I feel like he's gotten, I'll still hear what Molyneux has to say.
Okay.
Just every so often, even though most of what
Granddaddy
he says,
Cantwell.
yeah, most of what he has to say now is pretty much garbage.
He's despicable, man. It's so sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. But what I was gonna say about this is that I've been claiming for a long time that I feel like the country has been headed for a civil war, right?
Oh,
and I
okay.
think that the first step to that, to any country going to civil war, is that you have to found two governments, right? You have to have two opposing governments.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah.
And, I was talking today, and I said, I've always kind of put the Civil War thing in the future, and I don't think that it's that far in the future at this point. I think that we're going to have our forking of government in 2020.
Really? Who's going to...
Back to this idea...
Okay, go ahead, Gene.
Back to this idea that somebody's got to
that.
take over. And this has been the case throughout history, is that once the people finally throw off their chains, they willingly let somebody else dump chains back on them. But there's something unique in this century that nobody's ever had throughout history, and that is the internet and the freedom of information. Now, the ideas of liberty were big 150 years ago when Lysander Spooner and the other guys were all starting to write about these things, but nobody learned them because the books were not widely circulated.
Sure.
The libraries wouldn't circulate them for sure, and so less people learned about it. But now we have the internet, and people are curious about things like this.
Are they, though?
And
are they more curious now than ever, you think?
I think they are, yes.
You sure they're not busy watching their favorite sports team or the latest eepisode of Stranger Things or some other...
Well, there definitely is that, but there's also people are curious and they want to know. And that's the main reason that, I call in here, is because I want curious people
I'm
to
glad
learn.
you did. It's a good conversation. I think it's important.
To learn what authority is and what it isn't.
It's a
because there is
fantasy.
no official.
Right.
Yeah, there is a fantasy. There is no real authority. And what it boils down to is people need to learn to say something that we kids said it back 60 years ago, and that is, who made you the boss of me? That was something that we would tell our neighbors, our kids in the playground, because they'd try and tell us to do something. Who made you the boss of me? Well, let's bring that up a notch now that we're all adults, and let's start asking, who made those goons the boss of me? Nobody did. So we need to get that idea out and circulate it, and people need to start taking it to heart.
I agree. Gene, the Christian anarchist, great call. Thank you for sharing your thoughts here tonight. They're on the Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm, and that is where, if you maybe liked what Gene had to say, we've got a crypto tipping bot on that server that actually allows you to easily send tips in, couple dozen different cryptocurrencies. That, just a matter of typing in a quick command, and if you thought Gene was saying something useful, you could send a tip directly to him, or you can randomly tip people in the chat room, or tip the people who have been active in the last 5 minutes, or leave what they call an airdrop for people to claim a portion of. It's really a cool thing. We don't really know whether it's an exit scam or not, so make sure that you don't put anything into the bot that you can't afford to lose completely, because we have no idea who the brilliant programmer is that's behind this thing. But if you want to join the fun on the Discord server, they're tipping in there right now over at discord.lrn.fm. But I think what Gene is pointing out is very, very important. And again, Larkin Rose did a great job in his book about the subject. Just kind of eye-opener. Hey, look, this whole authority concept is just designed to control you. It's designed to get you to be obedient to men wearing funny hats, men and women wearing nice suits and nice uniforms and badges, shiny badges, and all their hats to make sure you know that they're the ones who are in charge. And you should do what they say, or else they're going to hurt you. And that's really all it boils down to. But if enough people did what Gene is suggesting, if enough people actually said, well, you're not in charge of me, or no, just say no. Remember the old 80s, just say no? Just say no to the government when they try to tell you to do things. If enough people are doing it, then they become powerless, because ultimately they really do rely on people's voluntary compliance when it all comes down to it. There's more coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
I really haven't been sick. People in my house come down with whatever's going around, but it passes me by, and I just take a couple more, so, just in case. But I really haven't been sick since I started taking them, And my energy level is a lot better. I'm walking around, and I can do 5 miles a day. Oh, I'll tell you, I'm a firm believer in it. Don't mess with success.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Receive 25% off your first preferred purchase of Balance of Nature. Plus, get a set of convenient travel bottles containing a free additional week's supply of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. With these discounts, you will still receive free shipping on every order. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FREETALKLIVE.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,473, silver at $17.03, and Bitcoin is trading around $8,270. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing 1 or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, what began as a way to increase public safety has turned into a civil rights concern. Activist Post reports that some residents of San Diego, California, are demanding the removal of some 4,000 smart streetlights, which they claim are an invasion of privacy. The devices use sensor nodes to gather a range of information, such as weather and parking counts, but also uses facial recognition technology to count pedestrians. The San Diego City Council approved the installation of the smart streetlights in December 2016, and now approximately 4,200 are in place. Even though there has been some backlash, other residents are hopeful about the opportunities these smart streetlights could bring to the city. One resident believes the lights were put in place for the greater good as they help law enforcement. The City Council had first deployed the technology with the idea of saving money and increasing safety. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Agents with the FBI raided a government agency last week to execute a search warrant looking for evidence of a fentanyl drug ring. The Free Thought Project reports that during the raid on the Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, FBI agents found the fentanyl they were looking for and discovered a massive heroin and fentanyl ring being run out of the government building, just a few feet from an elementary school. According to investigators, undercover agents caught Daryl Marcellus Pope operating the massive drug ring in which thousands of dollars of fentanyl and heroin were being sold. The FBI reported that the drug ring stretched over multiple states from Woodbridge, Virginia to D.C. to Pope's Clinton, Maryland home. According to court documents, Pope was observed outside his office building on foot and walking up to meet the undercover officer. On multiple occasions, Pope sold the detective varying amounts of fentanyl or heroin and fentanyl. Some transactions were for as little as 2 grams, and one was for as much as 30 grams. Activists in Oakland, California, have ramped up efforts to take a first step toward limiting the impact of federal programs that militarize local police. Activist Post reports that American Friends Service Committee will host a community town hall on policing and military equipment Thursday in support of efforts to pass a city ordinance requiring approval by the Oakland City Council for the acquisition of military equipment and use policies and reporting for military equipment that the Oakland Police Department has or obtains in the future. AFC points out that Oakland has no policy for the acquisition or use of militarized equipment, and Oakland police can acquire and use military equipment of all kinds anywhere at any time, with no policy for its use or public reporting of what it has or how it's used. The organization says that several studies conclude that police departments that acquire military-grade equipment are more likely to use violence and are no more successful in reducing crime. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
According to locals waiting for a 66 bus in downtown Chicago last night, a young couple was making out in the passenger shelter like they were in Paris or something. Onlookers spoke to reporters about the pair, who carried on their passionate embrace for over 20 minutes, as if they were in some sort of goddamn candlelit bistro tucked away in Montmartre.
It's been almost a half an hour and they're still going at it. It's like they think they're sitting on a sun-dappled picnic blanket in the Tuileries Gardens. I mean, where the hell are we? The Champs-Élysées?
The pair's marathon makeout session, which took place in downtown Chicago and not, as frustrated onlookers emphasized, on a cobblestone street in the city of lights, featured intense gazing, deep tongue kissing, and other gestures of affection typically reserved for a couple strolling down the banks of the Seine River.
You know, for a second there, I honestly thought we had all been transported to Parc Monceau, drinking flutes of champagne on a wonderful summer afternoon while being serenaded by a Parisian accordion player. But no, we're at a bus stop in Chicago.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here. Coming up tonight, the Harvard news story about their admissions policy, where a court has made a ruling that everything's A-okay. They can discriminate. It's totally fine. We'll get into that coming up here in moments. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
We've also been talking about the crackdown in San Francisco and elsewhere to a lesser extent on vapes in San Francisco. Apparently, they've made it illegal to sell any kind of e-cigarette product. Now, I'm not sure what the restrictions are as far as how long this prohibition is going on for, but the news story that we were sharing earlier was about how Juul, the San Francisco-based manufacturer of these, many of the most popular e-cigarette sort of products, they've just decided to walk away from a $10 million+ campaign to try to overturn the ordinance. while at the same time proclaiming how pro-San Francisco they are. Look how we love San Francisco. We were just so wrong about our campaign. We're going to scuttle this $10 million campaign. We've already spent $10 million, $7 million unspent. We're just going to say goodbye and good luck, but we're going to stay here in San Francisco because we love it here, the city that hates us.
So before we get too far back into that, because it's just still on my brain because you said you were going to ask me about it.
Oh, the Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually did make a note about that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Do you, I mean, I don't know.
I want to know, I do want to know
why
more
I
about
pushed
that.
up my timeline on the Second American Civil War.
So you can call in about any of these topics, just so you know. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, and we've got the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. But last hour, you predicted a civil war, and you pointed out something...
I've been predicting it for since the show has started.
But you pointed out something that's I think, not been made, a point that has not been made. I mean, there's been a lot of callers over the last couple years.
I thought it started with the George W. Bush presidency, right? As I thought that I claimed a long, long time ago, I'm like, this will be the worst possible president for the United States, and it's starting some very bad things. It will start some very bad things, and it did. And I think that some pressure has been growing and building ever since, and I had made multiple basically predictions that eventually that there's going to be a civil war. And I've always kind of said it's kind of the distant future. And events of recent have made me believe that it's a lot sooner than I originally thought that it was going to be.
Really?
And then even more recently now, I'm like, you know what? I think it could just be starting. The process could really start in 2020, and that we could see it by the end of the next presidential term.
Okay, but there was something that you said in the last hour that I thought was incredibly, well observed, and that I don't think in any conversation we've had about the Civil War idea, because we've had callers call in about it over the last year or so that predict similar. Oh, it's going to be a civil war. It's going to be the gays versus the blacks, or it's going to be
ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
They just sort of try to figure out who they think's going to be fighting one another.
No.
It's going to be the Proud Boys versus.
It's
the
always
Antifa.
a government versus another government.
Well, that was what you pointed out in the last hour, and I thought, well, that's really interesting. So are you saying that in 2020 you believe there's going to be an alternative government founded?
Maybe 2021. I might take a little time to actually go ahead.
By whom? Is it going to be like a Democrat-Republican thing? Or
it'll be a Democrat thing. Maybe some Republicans will be involved because I think Trump is going to win again. And these Trump derangement syndrome people are craven, and there's a lot of them, and they believe that they're right, and they're not rational, and I don't think that they care about anything other than whatever having their own viewpoint or whatever. So I think that I think what's going to happen is that Trump is going to win again, and it's going to drive these people out
of their mind, like even more
ever-loving minds.
Because there was that classic video of the woman wearing like the day glow neon I guess raincoat or whatever, where she's screaming at the top of her lungs, no! You remember that one?
Yeah, sure.
And like that was happening at his inauguration,
right? Sure.
And so you're saying it's going to be even worse than that?
Sure. I mean, there's just so much. There's so many people that are driven crazy by this, and I don't think that they can. It's another Trump victory is going to cause so many people to just snap.
How many people are going to be involved in this? I mean, because this can't be that big of a thing, right? Like,
well, I mean
I'm imagining
it'll be huge. It'll be half the country, right? Because what's going to happen is
half the country,
half the registered voters.
Okay,
it's going to be the liberals and the never Trumper Republicans. I think. I think that there's just what's going to happen is you're just going to get another government, and there's going to be people that are going to choose to support that government.
If that happens, it'll be amazing. Sure. I will be shocked that something like that could occur now.
I want to know. I'm kind of like, we had the Confederacy, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what will this government be called? I wonder. Like, what will they call themselves?
Something liberal. I have no idea what that would be.
If they can't call themselves the Confederacy, will they try and is it a Star Trek thing? Will they call themselves the Federation? I don't know. Like, what are they?
The Borg, right? They all want to be one of the campaign, promotions or slogans or whatever. They've got the Biden campaign office here in Keene. I don't know if you've seen it yet. No. It's behind the Thirsty Owl here in Keene. One of the slogans.
Does
is
it have
unity.
like a picture of somebody being hugged from behind?
No.
Maybe being smelled gently. in the ear or something.
But unity is one of their slogans, right? So that's kind of Borg-like, right? All are one.
Resistance is futile.
Yeah, I don't know, Johnson. I think it's an interesting prediction. It's pretty wild. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be right or John McAfee's going to be right, but you guys are both making.
What's John McAfee's prediction?
He predicted $1 million Bitcoin in 2020.
Oh well, yeah, sure.
And I don't know which one is more outlandish because, I mean, to me, I'll tell you this. Right after Trump got elected.
Well, I can tell you this, that Bitcoin might seem like $1 million if the dollar collapses because of a competing government causing, right? Because isn't that kind of what happened during the Civil War, is that the currency became a complete nightmare because you had two different governments issuing what's supposed to be legal tender, right? And you don't know which government. So the union currency ended up completely collapsing, right?
I don't know. I'll take your word for it.
Well, if the federal government, if the Federal Reserve note were to collapse because you have a separate government issuing a separate currency that people are accepting, and you have this competition, it either splits the value of the dollar in half suddenly, right? Or
what you're talking about would require such a vast amount of resources to be able to just spin up a new government and have people take it seriously. It's just almost unbelievable.
I think there's enough outrage, right? I don't know.
There are going to be mad people. There's no doubt about that, right? Yeah. There's going to be some seriously angry people if Trump gets elected.
We've had enough.
Yeah, it's true. And after the first time, I went out to an anti-Trump protest that happened here in Keene, New Hampshire on Central Square. And of course, it was mostly angry liberals who were mad at Trump. And I wanted to kind of test the waters for secession and see what these people would say about it. And while a couple of them were, mildly interested in what I was saying, the response from others was completely, oh, no, we're going to take it back. It's Washington, D.C. We're going to take it back. It's really important for us to take it back. I mean, they're not going to just walk away from the tremendous halls of power that have been developed in Washington, D.C. The Democrats know that after 4 more years of Trump, it's probably going to be one of their guys that gets in because Trump can't run again after a second term. So
but they don't, you never know. I don't know. I don't know if that's.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to play out that way.
You want this to happen?
Yes.
You want a secondary government? Yeah. Okay.
I would love to see two.
I think it'll be a nightmare. You're going to have a lot of bloodshed. So no, I'm not hoping for it at all.
I don't think it'll be bloodshed in Keene, New Hampshire. If they're shedding blood,
was there bloodshed in Keene, New Hampshire during the Civil War? Because
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that statue at the center of town indicates that maybe there will be
I don't know. You think they actually had conflict in Keene during the Civil War?
Yes, they had conflict in where I used to come from, Reading, Connecticut.
Is that right?
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, actually,
I didn't know they made it that far north.
Yeah, well, actually, no. Actually, the conflict that I'm thinking of there was Revolutionary War conflict.
Yeah, they definitely had those up here for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope you're right, just because anything that could change the status quo in some way to shake things up, I think is probably a good thing overall to get people out of that mentality. I mean, that even though it would not end the belief in authority, like Gene was talking about in the last hour, like if some Democrat competing government arose, people would still, the ones that wanted to believe in that government would still choose to believe in it. It wouldn't certainly solve the problem of authority, but at the very least, it would damage the so-called authority that the current existing government does have. If people started to ignore it or disrespect it, I think that's a valuable thing to some extent, but I don't think it's going to happen like that. 855, 450 free. The power is too great for them to just let go of like that. It's Free Talk Live. Share your thoughts.
Warning, this is a privacy alert. You are being spied on right now as I speak by your phone. If you want this to stop, visit GoDarkBags.com and we'll show you how elite military units protect themselves and how you can too. Go-Dark Bags are lab tested and guaranteed for life. Visit GoDarkBags.com now and enter discount code FTL to save 15%. That's GoDarkBags.com. Discount code FTL. Your privacy depends on it. End transmission.
Free Talk Live is now on more than 200 radio stations nationwide. We've had more than 18 million podcast downloads, and we claim millions of listens a month. We're a multimedia ad venue with print, email, web, and terrestrial radio marketing platforms. We strive to have ad packages that cater to advertisers big and small. Contact me today at marketfreetalklive.com to see what we can do for you. Marketfreetalklive.com. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. But if you can service a national audience, contact me, marketfreetalklive.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
You can be the smartest person in the room on the topic of the Constitution if you attend this free webinar. Liberty First University is online training on the principles of liberty and the origin, proper application, and defense of our founding documents and the principles they contain. You will receive an education worthy of the highest institutions of learning as if the founders were teaching it. Join us at lfu.freetalklive.com for more details and your exclusive invitation to the free webinar on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Register now at lfu.freetalklive.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us right here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Do you think Johnson is on to something with his prediction that the liberals are going to lose their minds in 2020 if Trump wins again? And you seem pretty certain that that he's going to win again, Johnson. So if Trump wins again, the liberals flip out.
A strong possibility.
Even more so than they did in 2016's election, where they definitely, lost it for some amount of time. Mm-hmm. But they then regrouped. They got their fundraising letters going out there. The ACLU, for instance, and by the way, I'll be going to their awards dinner this coming Sunday. I'm a supporter of the New Hampshire ACLU. I don't much care for the national one that much, although they still do some good work. But, the ACLU, tripled their numbers because of Donald Trump. Donations to Planned Parenthood increased. Right. A lot of these liberal sort of organizations are doing very, very well right now. Trump is the best thing that happened to them. Right. So you're saying that in 2020, Trump wins, people flip out, lefties flip out, and that there will actually be, you believe, a government, an alternative government, a competing institution formed.
I think that there's a strong possibility at this point.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I hope you're right. I hope that it happens. The more that we can do to encourage people to break the mindset that they have allegiance to this thing known as the federal government, that the idea of the federal government is somehow a good idea. And it should have been clear to so many people that, hey, look, it doesn't matter who's in charge of this thing, whether it's George W. Bush, Barack Obama, or Donald Trump. Bombs continue to be dropped on innocent, peaceful people all around the planet. Now, arguably, you could say that Trump has apparently not dropped as many bombs as Barack Obama, but he still has. Although I do have a story about apparently the talks, the denuclearization talks are going to continue with Pyongyang. So that's some good news there. Yeah. But people are freaking out about Donald Trump. And are they going to break away and do their own thing? You can weigh in here and join us with your thoughts. Our toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Let's talk. Oh, wait a minute. We were going to go to Venkman, but he disappeared out of the on-air call-in line room. So maybe he'll jump back in here. You can join the on-air call-in line rooms if you want to sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us over at discord.lrn.fm. So I guess we'll just wait and see on this one, Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't
think it's not a strong prediction. I just think it's a huge possibility, and there's a possibility, Trump loses. So, that could happen too. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's hard to
me,
really
it always
say.
tends to be the worst possibility. Remember, I said that I think that it's still possible that Biden becomes the nominee. So for the Democrats. So
you think?
Yep,
I don't know. I don't pay any attention to the polls because I don't really think they're relevant. Because we've been through enough elections doing this show to where whoever's leading the front runner
is garbage.
Is never the actual winner. Whoever's early on the front runner almost always ends up dropping out or losing.
But remember, I told you that last time I was that Hillary would remain the front runner, and she did.
And she did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then you get some points.
Yeah.
For political predictions.
Yeah. So far.
A district judge in Boston at the U.S. Federal District Court has upheld Harvard's admissions process following a challenge from a group representing Asian American applicants who believe the school discriminated against them. Judge Allison Burroughs, a story according to CNN's politics section, ruled, I guess it was today, that while Harvard's admissions process is, quote, not perfect, she would not, quote, dismantle a very fine admissions program that passes constitutional muster solely because it could do better, unquote. Now, I find it funny that they're considering whether an admissions program is constitutional. Huh? What does a college's admissions program have anything whatsoever to do with the Constitution of the United States, which is a set of purported rules for the United States government to follow? I mean, you could argue that Harvard gets some state money, so therefore they're an aspect of the state or supported by the state, but I don't know if receiving state money means that you have to do things constitutional. I'm not even sure how the Constitution would apply in this case.
It's the Declaration of Independence that states that we believe these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Yeah, but that's the Declaration of Independence.
Okay. Well, you could say that if that applied and were true, then they would not be allowed to have this
admissions policy, which we'll tell you more about coming up here in the 130-page opinion. That's how long she needed to explain herself.
I mean, we can clearly say that these types of admissions policies are clearly un-American.
Because of the Declaration of Independence.
Sure.
Okay. Sure.
I think it would be a uniquely American view to say that all people are created equal.
You should be free to be un-American in your college admissions policy. You shouldn't have to be American
unless you're taking government money.
I see what you're saying.
Sure.
In her 130-page opinion, Ms. Burroughs stressed that race-conscious admissions hold, quote, an important place in society and help ensure that colleges and universities can offer a diverse atmosphere that fosters learning, improves scholarship, and encourages mutual respect and understanding, unquote. The ruling in the closely watched case is likely to be appealed and culminate in a national showdown over affirmative action at the U.S. Supreme Court. The challengers had argued at trial that as Harvard's personal rating system disfavors Asian Americans, it favors blacks and Hispanics, who generally have lower standardized test scores compared with Asians. The storied Massachusetts campus accepts only about 5% of its 40,000 applicants
Because
every
Asians
year.
are the superior race there, man.
That appears to be what they're saying.
They're Cantwell.
And I think Cantwell would probably agree to that based on some of the conversations that I have had with him.
Yeah.
Cantwell, for those that don't know, is a former Free Talk Live co-host who we fired.
The crying Nazi is how most people know him.
Yeah, he became a racist, and we had to get. I'm not going to have a co-host who is a racist, so we got rid of him. But he's still, just like anyone, is free to call into the show, and he has a few times, so we still know what's going on with him. And he does absolutely believe that races are different, and he doesn't look at the individual. He looks at the color of their skin and where they're from, and I think that's folly. But as you point out here, that's no different than Harvard. Harvard's ruling comes as college admission practices are being scrutinized nationwide, including by federal prosecutors who allege that celebrity and other wealthy parents paid off coaches and education administrators to falsify student records to help them win acceptance at elite schools. Have you followed any of that, Johnson, with the Lori Loughlin case?
Not really.
Where
I know about it, but I don't really know.
Yeah,
about
the
it.
other woman, Felicity Huffman, I believe, was the other one. Wasn't she in Breaking Bad or something like that? Anyway,
No, I don't think so.
No,
she was in Desperate Housewives, I believe.
Okay, so these actresses and their children, their daughters, I think in at least one of their cases, they greased some palms. They did what they had to do to get their kids into college, and the news broke about this. Charges were filed, and I guess because I've looked at some of these stories on Google. Google News serves me up updates on what's going on with these cases. So I've sort of kind of been aware of what's happened. We haven't talked about it recently on Free Talk Live, but there's something that I find particularly despicable, and I want to share with you about this. And we'll continue. You can share your thoughts on college admissions or whatever's on your mind. This is Free Talk Live.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Does this ever happen to you? Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better, no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, Johnson, you want to talk about libertarian title theory. Now, that does not sound like the most exciting of topics, but you said this is actually going to be really interesting.
Philosophically, I like the philosophical conversations about libertarianism. I think they're important.
All right, so we can get into that coming up here. Your calls and thoughts are welcome, though. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Also, we're talking about the Harvard admissions policy that a court has ruled is totally fine, no problem. You can discriminate against Asians, they say, because Asians are smarter, says Harvard, and so therefore they need to be discriminated against. 855-450-FREE is the toll-free number. Also, the Discord on-air call-in line rooms are open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. But there was a mention in this story from CNN about the affirmative action court case about the prosecutions of those parents who paid off school people or whoever it was they paid off to get through the admissions process, to get their wealthy daughters through the admissions process. Maybe there were some sons involved, but I've followed the Lori Loughlin side of the case. There was more than these sort of star women, but the two that they focus on were Lori Loughlin, who is one of the stars of Full House. You may remember her from the 1980s. Okay, yeah. Cousin Becky or something like that, or was that her name? And then
Cousin Balky. Bartok.
That was a different show, but the same producers. And
was it really the same producers?
I think so. Yeah, they all had like the same kind of intros and the same same kind of theme songs.
Yeah.
It was actually funny. The show Mr. Robot. You ever heard of that show? Mr.
Yes.
Robot. It's a great show. They actually hired at one point for a scene that they did in one of the later series of Mr. Robot. It was like this hallucinating scene with Alf in it. They hired the same guys who did those intro tracks to do the intro track to that parody scene. It was really funny stuff. Anyway, so Lori Loughlin and this other lady, Felicity Huffman, who you were right, she was in Desperate Housewives. She wasn't in Breaking Bad. But anyway, these two women were kind of on equal footing. They were both being come at by the government for getting their kids into these schools with grease and palms or whatever. And because I clicked on some of these stories at some point, and Google tracks that sort of thing, they've been showing me in my Google News on my phone all these stories about Lori Loughlin, better watch out. She's not taking the plea deal. And I'll actually give you some of their headlines here because I just think there's definitely some programming either that has gone on of the so-called journalists who are doing the reporting, or it's them doing the programming. Was it the chicken or the egg? Where does this viewpoint come from? Here's some of the headlines. When you search for Lori Loughlin plea on Google News, Lori Loughlin turning on husband to get plea deal in college admissions trial. That's from Gossip Cop.
Right.
From Perez Hilton, Lori Loughlin still wants her day in court.
Such a scumbag.
Despite a dozen other defendants rushing to change their plea to guilty. Lori Loughlin's from the Daily Mail maintains her innocence in cheating scandal despite Felicity Huffman prison sentence. It's like all this wide-eyed headlining about, my God, this woman and her gall.
Yeah.
How dare she not take the plea deal?
Right.
Look at what happened with this other woman. She's going to prison. Well, yeah, she took the plea.
Right.
So she gets whatever deal they've
Without
come up
any
with.
kind of a trial.
No trial whatsoever. Fox News. Lori Loughlin, quote, aware, unquote, of Felicity's sentence. Regrets not taking plea deal. Report. Vanity Fair. Felicity Huffman's 14-day jail sentence is reportedly weighing on Lori Loughlin. So it's like the message here in these headlines, and I haven't bothered to read the stories, but the headlines say enough. It's like, oh, people, if you're facing criminal charges, you better take the plea deal. Don't be like Lori Loughlin.
Right.
A lot of them have gone. I mean, this is in the last few days, okay? This has been going on for weeks now with headlines like this. Cautioning the reader to not follow in Lori Loughlin's footsteps. Whoa, she's not taking the plea deal, so she could be in big trouble. Smart people take plea deals, is what the message is here. And it's despicable. Another one here from the Inquisitor headline. Legal experts say Lori Loughlin needs to seek a plea deal immediately.
Oh, my God.
It's just sick. Deseret News headline. Felicity Huffman's sentencing could change Lori Loughlin's plea, according to experts.
It's sycophantic, too, for government.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is. Because they've already decided that this woman's guilty. The press has decided that, whoa, they've accused her of doing these things, so therefore she's guilty. And no, that's not how it's supposed to work.
Also, you have to remember she's wealthy. She's successful.
Oh,
so they
right.
hate her.
So hate the rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though, of course, they're...
And this is over something where she potentially used her wealth to her advantage. So double extra.
Right, yeah. So everybody's against her.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's sad, but that's the world that we live in. And it ties back into what Gene was talking about earlier with the belief in authority. Ooh, the authorities came after her. The authorities are bringing charges, so she better just go along to get along. You know, she could just get 14 days in prison, and that's not the worst thing that could happen to somebody. Why doesn't she just do what Felicity does and just, take the plea deal?
Right.
So I just thought that was worth sharing. We haven't followed the story in detail because, well, we're not going to really know anything until the trial. All of this is pure speculation on the part of the news media. They don't know what the facts of the case are. They don't have the discovery in the case. That's something that Lori Loughlin has. And obviously, her and her attorneys have sat down and said, hey, look, we got a strategy. Because you better believe if the attorneys thought, right, like if you're paying, you can pay a bunch of money for an attorney and you can get them to tell you what you want to hear. That can certainly happen. But presumably, the attorneys are giving her good advice. So we're just going to presume that she's getting good advice. And that is to say, Lori, we've got a case. They don't have, here's what they've charged you with. Here's what the actual text of the thing that they've charged you with says. And you didn't do that thing. Or they can't prove. Maybe you did do that thing. They can't prove that you did that thing. Now, again, I don't know what the text of I don't even know what the charge is. I don't know if it's some sort of fraud or exactly what it is. That's the level of which that I follow the case, which is to say not very much. But the attorneys presumably know what they're doing, and they believe they have a chance to win this thing. And they've convinced her to go for this. And I hope she comes out on top on this.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what the headlines are going to say then.
Oh, they'll just flip and it doesn't matter.
You think they'll flip?
Sure, why not?
I don't know.
Because
I think they'll treat her like she's a criminal who got away with it.
Oh, maybe. I think maybe some of
like
them
OJ. She'll
Some
be like
of them will,
she'll
and
be
some
like
will flip,
the rich, nonviolent OJ in this case. That's my prediction on this one. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. You can weigh in on school admissions or whatever is on your mind. He's Turd Ferguson in Pennsylvania. Go ahead. You're on our Discord server, Turd.
Sorry about that. I can barely hear you, but I'll try to try to stay with you here.
Yeah, I don't think we've changed anything here, so go ahead.
Oh yeah. So the reason why I'm calling in is because I had an idea about border control policy.
Okay.
That I think is much better than the norm. But I have a feeling though that it would never actually go through because one of the sides would have some issue with it and not let it pass. But this is my idea though, and I like to call it the Great Compromise. Okay. So what I would propose is that we allow actually any low level, and particularly, Hispanic citizen, probably, because that's primarily what we're talking about here. Any low level non-criminal Hispanic citizen cross the border and stay here undocumented if they want to, but we would leave the illegal border crossing law on the books. And ideally, we would even rewrite it so that it's used specifically. I can hold on.
Stand by. We'll give you a chance to pitch this concept. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. You can bring up anything you want. You can also join us on our Discord server, just as Turd Ferguson is doing over at discord.lrn.fm. You can join the server there. It's free, and you can then hop into one of our on-air call-in line rooms. We'll get you on the air. You'll sound like you're sitting here with us, and you can take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
It takes a lot of courage to face your own death, but I'm glad I finally did. See, I was putting off getting life insurance to protect my family, even though I knew it was important. Then my neighbor's husband died. I watched her struggle emotionally and financially. It really made me face reality. If my husband died, how would I pay the mortgage, the car payments, or keep up the life the kids and I had? I realized I needed to get us life insurance right away. So I called AIG Direct. In less than 5 minutes, I had a quote. I was shocked at how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I feel so much better knowing my family has protection.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-613-2646. That's 1-800-613-2646. 1-800-613-2646.
Let me ask you something. What are you doing when you put money in a 401k or IRA, or store jumper cables in your vehicle, or purchase health insurance? You're preparing. You're preparing to ensure you have enough money for retirement. You're preparing for when your car battery dies, or to have assistance paying a major unexpected medical bill. That all makes sense. The same goes for building a food storage plan. You're preparing for when emergencies or disasters strike and shelves go empty at your grocery store. The best way to prepare is with My Patriot Supply. They've helped 1 million hardworking Americans become more self-sufficient. My Patriot Supply sells hundreds of items, including dozens of emergency food kits, at MyPatriotSupply.com. It could be an earthquake, a cyber attack freezing our banking system, or a disaster that shuts down our power grid for weeks. For all these emergencies and more, get your supplies and prepare today at MyPatriotSupply.com. No more rushing to find empty store shelves because you're too late. Do it now so you're ready. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Free Talk Live.
So when talking to a liberal, you have to be politically correct. But when talking to a conservative, you have to be patriotically correct.
Yeah, it's funny how conservatives forget while they're making fun of liberals and how triggered they get over, social issues. But if you don't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem at a hockey game or something, you might get some glares. You might get some people really upset.
I actually had somebody tell me when I was at the State House last week, you should really be standing during the pledge. No, I shouldn't. I don't pledge allegiance to things that don't, give some kind of reciprocal
I'm a slave
protection.
To a piece of cloth. This is my stupid brain-dead life. Amen.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up whatever you want here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm, so feel free to jump into those. Sound like you're sitting here with us. Turd Ferguson's in there. We're going to get right back to his call. Ian with you tonight.
And Johnson.
Also, the Edge wallet. People are using Edge for their cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, the various Ethereum tokens, Monero, Ripple, Stellar, Ravencoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and others. You can go get your Edge wallet through your Google or Apple App Store. Just search for Edge, E-D-G-E, Edge Wallet, or you can go to their website, edge.app, and learn how to secure your freedom with Edge, where you can buy, sell, trade, and securely hold cryptocurrencies. Edge.app is their website. We go back to Turd Ferguson. He is on our Discord server. Turd, so what are you pitching here tonight?
Yeah, so this was my idea about border policy in the United States, what I call the Great Compromise. But undoubtedly, there would be some party that would be unhappy with it, and it probably wouldn't pass. But this was my idea. So what I was saying before the break was we would allow any probably Hispanic person, because that's primarily what we're dealing with, to cross the border in an undocumented fashion. If they were, there wouldn't be any real consequences for it, as long as they're a low-level kind of, non-criminal, just a person seeking a better life that just has been on a waiting list forever and can't get approved or for whatever.
Well, now
reason.
hold on. I'm not because I disagree with you. I'm just gonna provide an objection here.
Sure.
So the objection would be, well, you just said they're going to be undocumented. So how would you know whether they're criminal or not?
Well, we wouldn't know right away.
Okay.
We wouldn't know until they actually committed a crime.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So like everything else, there are going to be problems, but this will be better than what we have now. So we would allow that, and that would make ideally the liberals happy. To make the conservatives happy, any undocumented immigrant that was in the United States, we would not provide any health care for or any kind of welfare for, and we could also actually leave the border laws in place the way we are, but we could either only use them to prosecute gang members as we find them within the United States, or high-level criminals that are here undocumentedly, just so there's an extra tool there for law enforcement as a catch-all if they need it. But ideally though, we would rewrite the law so that it just couldn't be used against, low-level people that are just seeking a better life for themselves. That would be the compromise.
Doesn't this, aren't you basically rewording Mark's blue card plan that he's talked about before, where it's basically what you just said. People who wanted to come here could come here, and they just wouldn't be able to vote or collect welfare, and he called it the blue card.
I haven't heard it. I've never heard Mark talk about that at all before.
Oh yeah.
But it sounds like a decent idea though.
No, but what I asked Mark at the time was, can I sign up for the blue card? If this program is going to come into play, because the other thing he said on the blue card thing was they also wouldn't pay taxes. So what do you feel about that? Would they pay taxes or no?
Well, they would pay taxes for whatever entity they actually use. If they came here and bought property, they'd pay property tax. If they, they would pay sales tax on the sales line. They would pay
What about income
taxes.
tax?
Yeah, I mean, there would be some
So what
taxes.
you're saying is they would be taxed, but they wouldn't be represented. So it would be taxation without representation.
I mean, in a sense, in a sense, I guess.
Isn't that one of the founding concepts, that sort of the idea that you shouldn't be taxed if you aren't represented?
I'm just trying to. Hey, I don't have all the answers. I'm just trying to get us something better than what we have now, and make both sides happy. And I mean, yeah, sure, there are definitely going to be issues with it, like what you're talking about. But this is just a way where we could get going, and then potentially get both the liberals and the conservatives on board, if they'd both be reasonable and realize that this is a compromise that they both could make.
Well, I don't think that. I think at the very least, I agree with Johnson earlier, where he said that there's no compromise coming. Whether or not there's going to be a civil war is another question, but they certainly are not in a mood to compromise on much. So I don't know if we're going to see that happen, but I definitely appreciate your call and thoughts. Thank you, Turd Ferguson. And again, he's there on our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. You can join us there. So I don't want to get too deep into this Harvard thing. It just kind of the story just kind of veers off into the personalities, like the attorney, and talking more about the admissions policy. I think the point was made that Harvard is basically no different than racists. They believe that one race of people is superior to others, and they believe that other races are inferior to others. And I think that's unfortunate. I think that's. I don't think people should look at race.
I think that's the definition of racism, right? Because
it's absolutely the definition of racism. Yeah. You can be a racist and believe that a race is superior. Meaning a race is not your race.
That one day people will be judged by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin.
Yeah, we're still working on that. That was what, the 60s?
We're not. No, we're not still working on that.
You're saying that's out the window?
Yeah, it was a dream because he was
still
dreaming.
A dream. You're saying it's still a dream. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. So, Johnson, you wanted to talk tonight about this libertarian title theory.
Sure.
Specifically, are we talking about land titles?
A property law. Yeah. Well, title refers to, any kind of property, right? It's just
like a car title.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be inclusive as well. Let me pull that up though real quick because I do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have it pulled up here. I don't know if you want me to say anything out of it. But
I've got it. Okay. So it basically talks about questions that should be answered by any libertarian title theory, and I think that I like these philosophical questions that sort of come up and question foundational beliefs about libertarianism and how it should function and work, right? So the story goes on. My interest in the legal debate surrounding the legitimacy of fractional reserve banking has led me to a deeper interest in title theory in general. As a young, hopeful philosopher, I hope that I may one day contribute meaningfully to these discussions. While I have inclinations about the correct answer to all of these questions, each question has at least some parts which I consider so far not completely answered.
And I didn't hear, did you give credit to this guy, Andrew?
No, I have not yet. Andrew Allison. Yeah, it's a blog.
WordPress blog.
Yep. Of all of these questions, I believe... all of these questions, I believe, have important implications in the real world, and libertarians must be prepared to answer them. So, maybe we can give it a shot.
All right.
What is the ultimate justification? Libertarian title theory has had a slew of justifications in the past 100 years ago, from Rand to Nozick to Mises to Rothbard to Hoppe.
These are all libertarian author, thinker types.
To Van Dunn and many others, including more fringe thinkers such as Stefan Molyneux.
Although he's not thinking too hard these days.
Yeah, well, he's very fringe. In fact, I'd consider him to be so fringe, he's not even close to being a libertarian.
No, not at all. Not anymore.
Anyone who is familiar with these different justifications realizes that their reason for believing that men ought to respect one another's property are not the same. For Rand, it is a respect for one's own life, which that's Ayn Rand, respect for one's own life, which dictates that we not infringe upon the property of others. For Mises, it is universally preferred to respect property since we all benefit from it economically. For Rothbard, a respect for property allows us to realize human flourishing and avoid being defective persons. For Hoppe, it is a respect for the norms of argumentation which leads us to recognize the peaceful relationships and conflict avoidance as the ultimate human ends, which can be achieved by a respect for private property rights. The reason that the differences are so important is because when we discuss any applied problem of title theory, for example, fractional reserve banking, we want to be sure that what the goal of our theory is. If the goal of our goal is to promote human flourishing, as the Rothbardian may answer, then any question of who has title, when they gain or lose title, whether or not they can relinquish title, are only answerable in terms of how much that rule promotes human flourishing. The Hoppian...
According to who?
Well, according to the Rothbardian libertarians, right? The Hoppian, who sees property as a means to perpetual peace among men and conflict avoidance, must always answer these same questions by asking if their theory of title will, in fact, avoid conflict. There are already some interesting discrepancies between the two theorists who have incredibly similar justifications for title theory, argumentation ethics. And then he goes on to say Hoppe and Frank Dunn, which he'll discuss below. Anyway, it goes on to talk a little bit more here about how these differences can result in a potential conflicts between those two.
I definitely think there would be some conflicts, and we'll continue here. 855-450-FREE.
We've experienced them firsthand.
855-450-3733. You can bring up what you want. Hour 3's next here on Free Talk Live.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale, totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
Do you have a crypto wealth advisor or coach? If so, has your cryptocurrency advisor been investing in technology stocks for over 20 years? Have they left the corporate world and retired? Or are they still trying to make a weekly paycheck? Have they produced six-figure results for their customers in the past 30 days? And very importantly, are they a member of the Digital Currency Council? Seth Maniscalco is the founder of Crypto Wealth Coach and CryptoWealthCoach.com. Seth invested in his first Roth IRA at 19 years old while living abroad and has been investing in Wall Street and technology for over 20 years.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,473, silver at $17.03, and Bitcoin is trading around $8,270. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. in the news. What began as a way to increase public safety has turned into a civil rights concern. Activist Post reports that some residents of San Diego, California, are demanding the removal of some 4,000 smart streetlights, which they claim are an invasion of privacy. The devices use sensor nodes to gather a range of information, such as weather and parking counts, but also uses facial recognition technology to count pedestrians. The San Diego City Council approved the installation of the smart streetlights in December 2016, and now approximately 4,200 are in place. Even though there has been some backlash, other residents are hopeful about the opportunities these smart streetlights could bring to the city. One resident believes the lights were put in place for the greater good as they help law enforcement. The City Council had first deployed the technology with the idea of saving money and increasing safety. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Agents with the FBI raided a government agency last week to execute a search warrant looking for evidence of a fentanyl drug ring. The Free Thought Project reports that during the raid on the Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, FBI agents found the fentanyl they were looking for and discovered a massive heroin and fentanyl ring being run out of the government building, just a few feet from an elementary school. According to investigators, undercover agents caught Daryl Marcellus Pope operating the massive drug ring in which thousands of dollars of fentanyl and heroin were being sold. The FBI reported that the drug ring stretched over multiple states from Woodbridge, Virginia to D.C. to Pope's Clinton, Maryland home. According to court documents, Pope was observed outside his office building on foot and walking up to meet the undercover officer. On multiple occasions, Pope sold the detective varying amounts of fentanyl or heroin and fentanyl. Some transactions were for as little as 2 grams, and one was for as much as 30 grams. Activists in Oakland, California, have ramped up efforts to take a first step toward limiting the impact of federal programs that militarize local police. Activist Post reports that American Friends Service Committee will host a community town hall on policing and military equipment Thursday in support of efforts to pass a city ordinance requiring approval by the Oakland City Council for the acquisition of military equipment and use policies and reporting for military equipment that the Oakland Police Department has or obtains in the future. AFC points out that Oakland has no policy for the acquisition or use of militarized equipment, and Oakland police can acquire and use military equipment of all kinds anywhere at any time, with no policy for its use or public reporting of what it has or how it's used. The organization says that several studies conclude that police departments that acquire military-grade equipment are more likely to use violence and are no more successful in reducing crime. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Following the conclusion of yet another day marked by a litany of tedious and unavoidable realities, The Onion spoke with sociologist Dr. Timothy Coghill, who told reporters that the nation would be forced to go through all of it again tomorrow.
As our projections demonstrate, tomorrow, like today, every man, woman, and child in America will wake up and do it all again. All of it, including traffic, the workday, bad coffee, your kid's soccer game, laundry, the struggling economy.
Statistical evidence also showed that the nation would once again endure traumatic childhood memories, Twitter, anxiety, poverty, consumerism, rampant abuses of the legal system,
joint pain, racial inequality, global warming, the steady erosion of civil liberties, violence, loneliness, disease, unresolved intimacy issues, the ravages of age, hunger, sexual frustration, existential dread, the looming specter of death.
For more on this unending story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want here as we launch into the third hour of the program. Phones are open as always for you. Our number is 855-450. Free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
We're going to get into the esoteric a little deeper here, Johnson. You want to talk about title theory, property rights, basically, and how libertarians might differ when it comes to their sort of underlying beliefs of why property rights matter.
Right.
So normally on this program, we're arguing with people like socialists on whether or not property rights even exist. But in this case tonight, we're going to talk about the ways that libertarians would disagree with one another if they actually got to their libertarian fantasy land of getting the state out of property or whatever, as we currently know it, and actually had a more freedom-oriented system. What would that look like? And, well, different liberty-minded folks would say different things about what that would mean, and that could end up in more schisms.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that, but let's go to your calls and thoughts here. First, we're going to Discord, where Ripple Nipple, by the way, I think every call tonight has been on Discord. Ripple Nipple is on the line, and you're calling us from Vegas. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a border solution, so
All right.
I was thinking that you could have like homeless encampments down there, kind of lined up in between factories. So then the immigrants could come right up to the border into the factory and work, and they could, and then we could send our homeless people down there. Well, they could want to, there would be benefits to go down there. They can get cheap labor and.
What makes you think the homeless people want to work?
Well, they don't need to work. They could just not work right down there.
Right. I mean, that's one of the things about being homeless is, you don't have all the expenses of having a house. So it's not really that important for you to work that hard, right? Because you don't have to pay rent or a mortgage.
Well, we got to put them somewhere, right? I mean, it seems like as good as place of any. And, when the immigrants see all the homeless people there, it might, make them turn back anyway.
Are you saying you don't want immigrants to come into the United States?
Well, I mean, I don't care. I mean, it doesn't need to look that, But if
I'm sorry,
really
you broke up there for a moment. It doesn't need to look what?
That appealing. To them,
it sounds like what you're saying.
We're attracting them.
It sounds like what you're saying is it's somewhere like we should just start like a pile, and just like throw the homeless people on a pile somewhere, and just keep stacking them.
At the border, that'd be a good place for them. And then they wouldn't. There's a job right there if you need it, but if you don't, then just sit there and
then just sit on the pile and just get stacked up.
Yeah, I don't know if people should just be discarded in such a haphazard fashion.
I think that's what he's saying.
But yeah, that does sound like what you're saying.
It's already illegal to be homeless in a lot of places. They'll
so throw them out.
Confiscate.
They're illegal people. Your essentially, we have all these problems with all these illegal people.
You're saying you don't want immigrants to come here, so therefore you're going to litter the border with homeless, so as to make the United States look less attractive. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm joking. But,
yeah, I'm glad.
Yes, but the factories, see, they're good, and that's a good idea too, because.
Thanks for the call, Ripple Nipple.
Have to come in here.
Appreciate it, man. Toll-free number 855-450 free.
They have that tip bot if you want to send me some Ripple from that.
Yeah, that is on there. You're right. Cool. Ripple is one of the cryptocurrencies.
I don't have. That's one of the cryptos I don't own anything of.
Sam Dodson convinced me to get some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a total Ripple dork. He's like 100% Ripple maximalist.
I'm sure he thinks that they're already setting up a society on the moon.
Maybe they'll send the homeless there.
Yeah, maybe.
So the toll-free number is 855-450 free. In order to set up a society on the moon, you'd have to know how to divide up the land, how property rights are going to work.
That's what you call a pro radio segue right there.
And that's what we're talking about here from a blog post, Johnson, that you found somehow. How did you come across this thing?
I don't know. I search for things all the time, and then I save them, until many weeks later.
You found like a really dorky, esoteric, exercise here on what libertarians believe about property rights.
I like breaking it down. This is Free Talk Live. If there's anywhere where that should happen, at least somewhat, it's this show.
Yeah. Okay.
So, it goes on here. So it says, here, Hoppy maintains the right that we have a physical integrity to our property and nothing else, right? So the physical substance of the property, we own it. If you can keep it, you have it, right?
Okay.
Van Dunn, this guy,
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him, but mentions the non-aggression principle here.
But
Says
most
Van
of these
Dunn,
people I haven't read, so I don't know.
Exactly.
I'll take his word for it.
Van Dunn, on the other hand, believes that we have the right to the use of our property and defines the non-aggression principle as a praxeological idea rather than a physical one. And I should define praxeological.
Yeah, please. I've heard it defined a million times, but I still don't remember it.
Praxeology. It's just the study of human behavior.
I see. Isn't that what economics is?
Praxis is yes and no. So Mises, I think, is the author of that book, Human Action, or
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
So that's an economic idea. So praxeology would probably also encompass economics, I guess.
Okay.
Economics would probably be one
part of that.
Part of praxeology.
Okay.
And praxis comes from like an ancient Greek or Roman term, I think, for to practice something, right? So that's like, anyway. So it goes on here to say, so we've got this, physical and keeping your property, right, versus non-aggression, and that you only have the right to the use of your property. So he elaborates here a little bit in here, the second question, which is, what is included in the bundle of rights one receives from homesteading? So if you've homesteaded a property, what are your rights? Because if you have a legal theory, even if you're running your society via, I don't know, insurance, DROs, dispute resolution organizations, there's still got to be an accepted set of rights. So like in current real estate law, you've like rights to quiet enjoyment and, certain property rights about, how long you can hold the property for, encroachment,
easements,
easements, if somebody's, coming onto your property, what rights do you have? So it says here, most libertarians conform to some idea of the homesteading principle. Homesteading involves some act, described originally by John Locke as mixing one's labor, performed with a previously unowned resource, which gives the actor ownership of that resource.
An example of this would be tilling the land, planting things,
building a wall around your land,
building a fence, for sure, building a house.
Yeah. So the question is, what does one get when one homesteads? What can they do with the resource which is now their property? The answer to this, I believe, is more or less answered by libertarian theorists. As Hoppy explains in his Economics and Ethics of Private Property, this ownership of originally appropriated places,
You had it.
Let me stutter this out. This ownership of originally appropriated places and goods by a person implies his right to use and transform these places and goods in any way he sees fit, provided only that he does not thereby uninvitedly change the physical integrity of places and goods originally appropriated by another person.
All right, so put in other words, this means that if you homestead a particular plot of land and there's a river flowing through it, that you can't just dam up the river and make it so the river no longer exists downstream to the people who had previously homesteaded what they thought was going to be a river for the rest of their lives, and all of a sudden gets dammed up.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's one example of that.
So this seems good enough for almost all interpretations of libertarian title theory, but there are particular instances in which current philosophers have dispute about this claim. Consider, for example, the above-mentioned differences between Hoppy's physical theory and Van Dunn's praxeological theory, when applied to the case of land encirclement, when one property owner has his land surrounded entirely by another person's land.
Is one of them actually going to say that the person in the middle of the property is screwed and they got to get a helicopter to fly in, or what are they going to say?
Is that what you believe?
No, it's not what I believe, but there's more coming up here in moments. I don't really know. It's Free Talk Live. You tell us.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Warning, this is a privacy alert. You are being spied on right now as I speak by your phone. If you want this to stop, visit GoDarkBags.com and we'll show you how elite military units protect themselves and how you can too. GoDark Bags are lab tested and guaranteed for life. Visit GoDarkBags.com now and enter discount code FTL to save 15%. That's GoDarkBags.com. Discount code FTL. Your privacy depends on it. End transmission.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want, whether you want to comment on property rights or whatever is on your mind. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Looks like somebody in the chat room is correcting you, Johnson. Blockchain Bellwether says it's pronounced Hoppa, not Hoppy. So there must be a fan. They must be a fan of. It's like Hoppa, like get to the Hoppa.
Don't talk to me or I'll have you physically removed.
Isn't that what that guy's all about?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember hearing Cantwell talk about that guy. So anyway, the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. We also, by the way, have a cool website to tell you about, which is liberty.menu. It is, at its core, a directory for events, businesses, and digital content. If you're a liberty-minded person, whether you follow one of these authors or another one, or you're just your own thinker, you can go to liberty.menu and you can create whatever entries that you want. If you've got 2 or 3 businesses, go ahead and add 2 or 3 different entries to the map and to the list there, and you can review and rate other people's businesses that you've used. And you can also connect and share with others via the somewhat of a social networking aspect to the site. It is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Go to liberty.menu. You can use code FTL to get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. That's liberty.menu. Johnson, you're sharing with us a blog post from Andrew Allison over at andrewdallison.wordpress.com, where he's talking about some of these.
And I think it's a good, thorough examination of these.
It seems like it, that he's looking at the different viewpoints within libertarianism about things like property ownership, titles, homesteading, and that's what we were talking about just a moment ago, was the idea of, well, how do we look at homesteading? What does it mean specifically when it comes to land, for instance, that is encircled? This is where we left off, where he was talking about what happens, well, actually getting out off of homesteading, but looking at just the theory of land ownership. What about encirclement?
So
when one property owner has his land surrounded.
Yeah, so differences between this Hoppe and Van Dunn's praxeological theory. Here, when applied to the case of land encirclement, when one property owner has his land surrounded entirely by another person's land, we are offered 2 different explanations of the rights provided to each property owner. Under the physical theory, that's Hoppe, if the encircled landowner wants to return to his property, the encircling landowner would have no obligation whatever to allow passage. However, under the praxeological theory, which gives you the right to the use of your property, the encircling landowner must create a way for the encircled landowner to access his property.
Now, of course, a lot of this is,
by the way, that's kind of how current property rights work and under our governmental system with easements and rights of way.
Right. So, a lot of this stuff seems pretty silly as far as the argument is concerned. Like, how would you end up actually owning a piece of land that was completely encircled by other land? I mean, you wouldn't.
Somebody could buy all the land around your.
Right, but hold on. How would they do that? Presuming you had a piece of property and that there was a road, I would presume, leading to it, some sort of a path.
Well, remember,
to get
in a
you
libertarian
onto the
society, all land is owned, so roads aren't really rights of way anymore.
Right,
they're
but
just.
When you bought the property that's now encircled, it wasn't encircled originally when you bought it, so presumably you would have bought some sort of right to access that property.
If you're talking about rights to access the property, then you're talking about rights to access another piece of property. A road isn't a right of way anymore, so a person might buy the road, and then your property's encircled.
But usually
you might have a driveway, and you might own your driveway, but now the road is owned by somebody else who also owns all the land around your property.
But usually when you buy a road, or whatever you buy, buy a house, it comes with a lease. Like if there's renters in the house, you inherit the lease from the previous owner.
All right, so
if you
let me give you a real world example about a little man from Colorado named Marvin Heemeyer. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, this is the Killdozer guy.
Yes, because this company bought all of the land and encircled his business. And then he decided to destroy them because...
I thought he went after the government.
Yes, because it was the government's responsible. But it was also this, some sort of factory or something like that manufactured something. And so he, tore down their factory and then went after... And then he also went after
I didn't know that part of
all
the
the bureaucrats who were, responsible... went after their homes and businesses. Their homes and businesses in
with an armored bulldozer
with a tank that he had made because he was a welder, and he lowered a gigantic welded sarcophagus onto where he died.
Yeah.
It was like there was no way out. It was one way.
Right.
There was no way. Lowered using a crane this massively heavy armor.
Yeah, he sealed himself in.
Yeah, he sealed himself in this machine that had gun
gun turrets, or
not
whatever,
turrets,
gun
but
ports.
like ports for firing weapons, but also specifically tried not to kill anyone. So he was very much intent on doing lots and lots of damage,
Physical
but not
damage.
actually
Okay.
killing anybody.
Interesting.
So, but he did this because his land was encircled. So it is possible for land to be encircled, even in our current, rights of way society.
Yeah.
Because if the government doesn't play along,
they're screwed.
Yeah, you're screwed.
No doubt.
And if you were to live in this, again, a system where the society was acting
So which
like
one do you
government
think
or
it
rights.
should be, Johnson? Do you think it should be this, what he describes as the physical theory, where
Well,
if you
in
get
this case,
encircled, you're screwed?
Well, in this case, it certainly seems like right to use of your property seems
You can
superior.
use it, you just have to get to it.
Well,
you have to airdrop in.
Right. And then, you
can
should
never leave.
So you're going to have to take a helicopter in and out of your
Yeah.
property if you believe in the Hoppian way. So what you would do if you believed in the Hoppian way was to the person who encircled your property, you would offer them a free helicopter ride. Is what you're saying. Like, hey, come visit my land. I'll give you a helicopter ride there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I own your
One last
property. Yeah, one last time. So, and that would be clearly a violation of the NAP if you believed
That's the
in
non-aggression
non-aggression principle under the Van Dunn way of thinking. I don't know. It's crazy. So it goes on. I would say that the use of is superior, but I would need to see examples because there's probably plenty of examples where that theory is inferior, right? I imagine there exist examples of that. So it says here, how does one abandon property? In a 2015 article, Expiration of Private Property Rights, a note, right? So a lot of, socialists or, commie anarchists or whatever, ANCOMs and anarcho-syndicalists, believe that if property is abandoned, it should easily be able to be homesteaded, but what if somebody still has the rights over it? Obviously, in our current title situation under our government, people can own land and not use it pretty much
That's right.
indefinitely,
That's what the government does.
Yeah, as long as they have a title to it, it's theirs indefinitely. And it can be passed down from generation to generation, et cetera, et cetera. So Walter Block states, no reasonable person would force people to keep their erstwhile property against their will, and no libertarian would object to the ownership of them by the next man who comes along and homesteads them. However, I'm not sure that the problem is so simple. What of the following scenario? Jones owns a wheat farm next to an orchard owned by Brown. Due to negligent tree growing practices, a tree from Brown's farm falls onto the wheat on Jones' farm, costing Jones $1,000 in damages.
We'll talk more about it coming up here in moments. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever is on your mind here, whether it's property rights or something else. It's Free Talk Live.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
Free Talk Live is now on more than 200 radio stations nationwide. We've had more than 18 million podcast downloads, and we claim millions of listens a month. We're a multimedia ad venue with print, email, web, and terrestrial radio marketing platforms. We strive to have ad packages that cater to advertisers big and small. Contact me today at marketfreetalklive.com to see what we can do for you. Marketfreetalklive.com. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. But if you can service a national audience, contact me, marketfreetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you're invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com. You can go there and start accepting Bitcoin in your local business. Maybe you have a physical location where people come to you, or maybe you go to your customers. You want an easy way to accept cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or Dash or Bitcoin Cash. Head on over to helpmetakebitcoin.com. They got apps for iOS and for Android, or if you just got a web browser, you can use that too. And they make it super easy. Plus, it's free to accept cryptocurrency through AnyPay. You don't have to pay them a fee to do it, which is amazing. There's no ID verification. There's no hoop jumping. There's no paperwork. It really couldn't be much easier than what they've done over at helpmetakebitcoin.com. Now, you're taking cryptocurrency, Johnson, over on libertyminded.com. That is where people can get some pretty cool T-shirts with a pro-liberty theme, but also Free Talk Live official gear.
And LRN.
That's right. You're the only person, I think, to ever sell an LRN T-shirt, so that's available there too.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty snazzy too. I think, I haven't sold very many. I haven't advertised that one a lot, but it is, I think one of the cooler looking shirts if you want to support
Liberty
a
Radio
bunch of
Network.
Liberty Media, all at the same time.
So what's going on over on the site these days? Is there something fresh?
There's not. I haven't had a lot of time to do a lot of new stuff on there, but
But you have a lot of choices. I mean,
I did fix some problems. A problem with the site that I don't know. Like,
that's always good.
How long that's been broken?
Yeah,
for?
you never know. I mean, when somebody reports something, how long it's been broken. Like,
nobody even reported. I just found it on my own, which is even worse.
Right.
So yeah, apparently the www part of my URL, if you went to it, was completely broken.
I wonder how many people type in the W's these days. Is it, age demographics? Are older people more likely to type W's? Do younger people not type W's? Are they, how many people out there are still using the W's when they go to a website? I know for a long time the U.S. Postal Service did not work. I forget one way or the other. I think it was without the W's. The site just wouldn't work. They finally fixed that too.
Right.
But, Yeah, great t-shirts, great sense of humor. There's some really funny stuff over there, and some pretty poignant t-shirts.
That's what I'm
as well.
really working on. And if people have ideas for, poignant, liberty-minded stuff, feel free to send me stuff to johnson@libertyminded.com. Or johnson@freetalklive.com, either way.
Cool. Head on over to libertyminded.com, get your official Free Talk Live gear and more. Really cool libertarian t-shirts. Do you do like long sleeve shirt printing, or is it only short sleeve?
I have only set up for short sleeve stuff so far. I mean, I absolutely could start with that. I mean, I do have
because you do the one-offs, right?
Some hoodies and stuff like that I have.
Right.
But yeah, I just basically would have to set up the shirts. So if I hear interest in any particular shirt to do as a long sleeve, absolutely, it's something.
Because I've noticed that in my collection of shirts, almost every one of them that's like logoed or some sort of design is on a t-shirt, and none of them are on like actual long sleeves.
Well, I feel like a lot of people do what I tend to do too, which is get like a plain long sleeve t-shirt
and wear
then
a shirt
put a
over
t-shirt over it.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good idea.
And that's kind of
solves that problem.
It's not the skater look.
Plus, then you get an extra layer during the winter.
Exactly. If you need a long sleeve shirt, chances are you're already at the point where you need more than one layer.
Good
anyway.
point. Yeah, I think you're right about that. All right, so we're talking about this article that you had brought in tonight, Johnson, and I think Mortified Penguin is on the line. He's always interested in property rights discussions, so let's bring him in here because we've been talking about some of the libertarian disagreements when it comes to property rights. Mortified Penguin, is that what you wanted to talk about tonight? I'm just guessing. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is. I had to call in given the topic.
Yes.
So I wanted to say, first of all, so the idea of property, so property as we know it, exists, and titles are function of government. So property exists as a state privilege now and a state function now. But in the absence of a state, property, it's almost like, and this is a huge generalization, I'm being simplistic here, but property, you can't disagree on property because property is just an agreement between people. What else
That's
could
all it
it
is.
possibly be?
Yeah. It's just an idea. And it's a good
it's just
one.
an idea. And people have to kind of hash that out and figure out what's beneficial for each other. So it's probably mutually beneficial for at least a group of people, in proximity or certain size to agree on property. Like it's mutually beneficial. But you could have the extreme of like 2 or 3 guys go to a place, just say some random new place, 3 guys. It's a fairly large region, and they can just divide it up between themselves. Let's say a whole continent. Okay, 3 guys, whole brand new continent. And they divide it up themselves, all these plots, and divvy it out to each other. Now, what basis is their property based on versus some people who or have been on a different continent on some land for generations? What basis their property on? It's can only be set up on agreement. So like that guy that's has the property, and can his property be encircled? Well, I mean, is he going to recognize some guy has taken that property? Has that guy mixed labor with the land? Is he physically occupying the land? Have they come to any sort of agreement? Because let's just say this is kind of virgin land. What basis does that guy have to appropriate all this other land around there? A lot of people believe you have to occupy land and be in current use and some form of occupancy of it to have
that's
a property.
the ultimate thing, right? Is that it comes down to beliefs, and then those beliefs turn into conflicts, and those conflicts can potentially turn into violence as someone is attempting to assert authority over that property, right? So that's
in the absence of a legitimate authority.
Yeah,
that claims authority.
So I think that's the goal, is to try and find some theory that avoids all that and can at least get people to somehow come to some kind of rational agreement, which, hey, maybe it's not possible, but
I don't know if it is, because
certainly there's got to be something better than what we have currently, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But as you're pointing out here, as this article is, libertarians don't even agree on this stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's really good to bring this up, because I think that libertarians, in order to be taken more seriously, need to have some really solid answers to these things?
Well, a lot of the most principled anarchists, and I kind of have learned a bit from kind of echoing a bit from them, that have mentioned that have various theories of property rights. They believe in what they call a free market of property rights. So that, because property is an agreement, the property rights that are the most competitive to free market exchange win out. And I kind of like that argument, because I would hope that a lot of violence is disincentivized without its cost being socialized as it is with the state.
Well, I think most people, this is just me speculating, but I don't think most people would think it's fair encircling a person's property and basically preventing them from ever leaving unless they pay some sort of extraction or whatever. I just don't see that one really catching on. And ultimately, what's going to win may not necessarily be what's best for the market, but what people think is best for them. So I don't know. I don't have a real firm feeling about any of this. I think these are interesting discussions to be having, and I think that, I don't know if you describe yourself as a Georgist. I think you said that before, Mortified Penguin. I don't even know.
Oh, no, not at all.
No?
No.
You're not.
I think you misheard that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's another
But,
viewpoint that some libertarians hold, and I don't know if that's been really expressed in this paper that you're looking at. At all.
Oh, there's a lot. Occupancy and use. Like a lot of mutualists hang on, and I don't even want to go into communist anarchists. I don't really know much about them, and I don't know what they think of property. But yeah, occupancy and use in various forms of Lockean property norms and stuff, and they all seem to speak to a legitimate property. I just don't know much about Georgism.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight. And the idea, appreciate hearing from you, the idea that the average person's ever going to weigh in on a discussion like this, it's not going to happen. People just want to, come home from work and enjoy their day and spend time with their family and get their bills paid. They don't want to sit down and think about what different people think about property rights. It's just not even something they want to spend time on. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Now, there is Reveal. Beverly Hills celebrity dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman took nearly a decade to develop Reveal from natural botanicals to return to a full-body head of hair. Reveal for men and women with a 30-day money-back guarantee at gcnlife.com or toll-free 844-443-6637. 844-443-6637. Reveal at gcnlife.com.
Tahibo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus doesn't grow on. So it naturally has antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-infection, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. But maybe more importantly, Tahibo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea builds corpuscles in the blood which carry oxygen to our organs and cells. Our organs and cells need oxygen to regenerate themselves. The immune system needs oxygen to develop, and cancer happens to die in oxygen. The tea is great for healthy people, and it can truly be miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. Tahibo Tea Club's original pure Pau d'Arco Super Tea is only $34.95 plus shipping. Order now at shopsupertea.com or call 818-984-6100. That's shopsupertea.com or call 818-984-6100. Shopsupertea.com.
Cancer categorizes over 100 diseases. Though we do not diagnose, treat, or cure cancer, GCN team is offering the Clemson University study where there was up to a 95% reduction in cancerous cells when exposed to a plant-derived mineral supplement. If you or a loved one are searching for answers to this horrifying disease, come to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. We'll email you a copy for free. That's 877-878-4203.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We invite you here if you want to talk about whatever's on your mind. Our number 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Given all the discussion that we, have understandably had about this topic, because libertarians certainly don't agree when it comes to what it means to have and to hold and to purchase and to sell title to property.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
We barely grazed the surface of this article.
We're like not even halfway through it. But it's created some interesting discussion. We'll put the full article up for you on our social media, so you can follow Free Talk Live on a few different platforms. We're on Twitter at twitter.freetalklive.com. We're on Mastodon at toot, T-O-O-T, toot.freetalklive.com, and the Telegram platform over at telegram.freetalklive.com.
So I'm going to skip right to the end, and then I'll go back up. But I want to skip to the end because I want this to be said if we don't get the chance to get to it. So the thesis...
We got one call on the line, so we're probably not...
At the end is why we should care. As libertarians, we believe in truth, beauty, and the justice of liberty. We believe that private property is the institution which allows society to flourish. If we believe these things to be true, then we must be able to describe it to those around us. When we are asked about what liberty looks like in the real world, we can always defer to title theory, but only insofar as it is developed. I hope that one day I can contribute to the illumination of what is truly a beautiful theory.
Wonderful. I hope he moves to New Hampshire, where he might actually have a chance to do something like that someday. Because in order to get to some sort of rethinking of property rights, you're going to have a libertarian society. You're going to have enough people.
We know that this guy doesn't live in New Hampshire already, right?
We don't know that.
Yeah. So he might.
Yeah, maybe he does. Here. But, in order to actually have that happen, he's going to need to have enough libertarian-minded people, whether they be of his exact beliefs on property rights or not, in a close proximity in a geographic area to be able to influence things to change the system to where you don't have some centralized authority, governmental structure in charge of things like property rights. I mean, we're talking about a fundamental change in what people think or do when it comes to property. And the only way that can happen is if you have enough of a concentration of liberty-minded folks. So you got to start there. Anything else is just intellectual, self-pleasuring, basically. Let's go to Olivia. She's in Arizona watching us on YouTube. Olivia, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Johnson.
Hey, Ian and Johnson.
Hey.
I just wanted to compliment Johnson's business real quick. Liberty Minded has some really cool T-shirts. I like the the circular reasoning of government. I think that one's brilliant.
Thank you very much.
And the beanie too. I intend to get me a beanie for Christmas.
Is this the Free Talk Live beanie, or is there more than one beanie? Okay, that's a good one.
I think there's more than one.
There are more than one, but they're all Free Talk Live. The beanies so far that I have are all
Right
Free
on.
Talk Live beanies.
Those are classics. I mean, those are Those go back.
Yeah.
You've had that inventory for a long time.
Some inventory I have had for a very long time, and I do.
Well, the store was gone for many years.
That's true. Yeah, the store was just kind of offline. I have everything sealed up, you know, because I've been moving around.
Right, you've trucked it from like Florida to
Connecticut to down in New Hampshire, and it's finally I've been able to have enough space to myself, to actually be able to fulfill orders without having to go down to some kind of a warehouse.
How long has Liberty Minded been online now? More than a year, I feel like.
Roundabouts,
just
right
about
around there. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So Olivia, have you ordered anything from the site yet?
I haven't yet, but for Christmas I'm getting one of those beanies because that's
Very
really
nice.
cool. But
Very
I wanted to make one point. Well, you made this point, but I just want to back you up on this. Like you mentioned that guy who went postal on the people who had encircled him and all these other different things. And it's interesting because when I talk about liberty with other people, they want to bring up all these issues. I'm like, well, this is already a problem. This is already a problem. This is already we have all these problems and less liberty. Can you imagine having more freedom? And they're like, well, somehow it's going to be worse. I'm like, when the founding fathers went to set up America, not everyone, obviously, but a lot of people thought it wouldn't work. I mean,
and it didn't.
It's so frustrating.
They didn't. I don't think they intended.
Okay, but
it worked for a little while for some people, but I don't think that they intended this monstrous federal government that we currently have today.
Oh no.
So from that perspective,
But
it failed.
why is liberty such a hard sell to people? It's bizarre to me. Why they, Ronald
because you're not
Reagan
offering
said-
them free stuff.
Yeah, I mean, some people want to see freedom for themselves, but they don't want those weirdos to have freedom. They don't want those people down the end of the street to have freedom, or those immigrants to have freedom, or whatever.
That guy over there has a gun.
Yeah, ooh, that's scary.
That's scary.
Right, so people are afraid of the freedom of others, and so
Somebody might want to use drugs, and then they'll be crazy.
and they're then persuaded by those who wish to control them as well that, well, we just all need to be controlled for our own good. And there's just so much propaganda out there, so much of it. And we touched on it earlier with the ridiculous headlines about Lori Loughlin not taking a plea deal, and how the media is just raining down hate on her because she's actually daring to stand up against the system that's coming at her, which is, to me, a pretty courageous thing to do. That should be celebrated. Somebody who's not taking a plea deal. But this society celebrates obedience. It celebrates conformity. It, as much as they teach, remember, I don't know if they taught you this in school, but, think outside of the box and all these sort of these sort of just generic statements about how to be a different person or individual. It's pandering, and it's just not what actually they're really teaching. They're really teaching obedience.
Oh, no. If you go to a city council meeting, number one, like you said, fear, they will absolutely try to put fear in your heart when they vote to get you to think they're doing it in your best interest. And when you try to point out you're doing this one thing, but you can still, there's loopholes everywhere. They get angry. They treat you ugly. Just go up there as a voter and see how you're treated when you dare to question them. It's amazing.
Oh, I've done it plenty of times here in Keene, New Hampshire. The most recent was the nanny state increasing when they banned the use of nicotine-based products from people who are aged 18, 19, and 20. Yeah. And you came out, I think, to one of those meetings, didn't you,
Oh,
Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's video of your testimony on that, and we got up there, and it wasn't just us; it was other members of the community that had intelligent things to say that I considered to be persuasive and well researched, and it was all just overridden by the fear-mongering, scary talk about how it's still addictive, it's dangerous, and all the fear that they were pitching, and fear won because fear's a motivator for people. People are easily frightened. They're animals, right? Flight or fight.
I've been, feeling pretty defeated on some issues as of late.
Really?
And I definitely feel like, in terms of issues that I think are very important that people need to circle their wagons around, I guess conservatives, libertarians, etc., people that are not satisfied with the way things have been proceeding in terms of government and culture, I think that the main issue that folks need to focus on is school and getting kids out of government schools and government out of the school system. Like, there should just not be. I think it's the biggest problem, and I think if anything is going to turn the direction that things are going around, it's that. Specifically, that's the most important thing to
I agree with you. That's where a
now.
lot of the damage is done.
Yeah.
Early, when they're young and impressionable, and the government has total control
Again,
over them.
it comes down to the fact that you ask people general questions. I think part of the reason why so many people don't understand these issues is because they're completely ignorant of basic science and history questions. Just basic principles. You go out and you can see interviews on the street with people that are asked things about, monetary policy, about
right. They don't know it.
Firearms, about
basic stuff,
science,
too.
and like how things work. No ideas. No ideas. Just about the history of our country. Again, extremely common basic questions about the Bill of Rights, about who the president is, about, why was the Revolutionary War fought and with who.
Well, if you're interested in a lot of that stuff, Chrisanne Hall, the former Florida attorney and prosecutor fired for teaching the Constitution, she gave a seminar tonight, and that happened at like 8 o'clock this evening. Maybe you didn't attend it. That's totally cool, because you should have stayed tuned to us anyway. But it's going to be available after the fact.
Right.
So you can go and watch it anytime. Now, I don't think it's up quite yet. I'm told it's going to go online tomorrow at some point. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, you'll be able to go to LFU. It stands for Liberty First University, lfu.freetalklive.com, and that's going to take you to this archive of this presentation, this seminar, if you will, that was free to attend, and it'll be free to watch after the fact. It's at lfu.freetalklive.com. And again, if you go tonight, it may not be there yet, so probably want to try it tomorrow. If it's not there right now when you check it, just give it 12 hours or 24 hours and check back at lfu.freetalklive.com. Check out Johnson at libertyminded.com.
Go get a hoodie. It's fall. It's going to be cold.
Good plan.
You need a Free Talk Live hoodie.
See you tomorrow. freetalklive.com.
Do you have a crypto wealth advisor or coach? If so, has your cryptocurrency advisor been investing in technology stocks for over 20 years? Have they left the corporate world and retired? Or are they still trying to make a weekly paycheck? Have they produced six-figure results for their customers in the past 30 days? And very importantly, are they a member of the Digital Currency Council? Seth Maniscalco is the founder of Crypto Wealth Coach and CryptoWealthCoach.com. Seth invested in his first Roth IRA at 19 years old while living abroad and has been investing in Wall Street and technology for over 20 years. With experience in all the money markets. By comparison, so many of these so-called crypto gurus have barely been alive for 20 years. Seth has not only experienced personal success from his own investments in crypto, he has also helped his clients earn 6- and 7-figure incomes, including helping investors make over $750,000 in EOS in 90 days and 1,225% in only 5.5 months with Chainlink. Seth has help for the small do-it-yourself guy on up to crypto whales. Increase your wealth. Visit CryptoWealthCoach.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,480, silver at $17.27, and Bitcoin is trading around $8,305. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, a white former Dallas police officer who shot her black unarmed neighbor to death after, she said, mistaking his apartment for her own, was convicted of murder Tuesday in a verdict that prompted tears of relief from his family and chants of Black Lives Matter from a crowd outside the courtroom. The same jury that found Amber Geiger guilty in the September 2018 death of her upstairs neighbor will consider her fate after hearing additional testimony that started Tuesday afternoon. She could be sentenced to from 5 to 99 years in prison under Texas law. The jury took a matter of hours to convict the 31-year-old Geiger after 6 days of testimony. Cheers erupted in the courthouse as the verdict was announced, and someone yelled, quote, "Thank you, Jesus," end quote. After the verdict was read, Geiger sat alone, weeping at the defense table. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. An illegal march in Hong Kong held on Tuesday to coincide with the 70th anniversary of Communist Party rule in China had mostly petered out by the late afternoon as the bulk of protesters left the starting point near Sogo, according to a report from the Mind Unleashed. But still, as has become a pattern in recent weeks, a small but dedicated group of protesters clashed with police, hurling Molotov cocktails and coming to physical blows. But for the first time since the protest started 4 months ago, a protester was shot by Hong Kong police officers on Tuesday. As video circulating online shows, a group of protesters attacked a police van, hurling sticks and other projectiles. Several officers got out and tried to chase them away, but one of the officers slipped and fell to the ground, where he was assaulted by several protesters. That reportedly led to the firing of several warning shots at the intersection of Waterloo and Nathan Roads in Kowloon. 2 officers suffered head injuries during the attack. Shortly after the incident, during a separate scene on Hoi Pa Street in Tucson 1, a man was shot in the chest with a live round. A pair of young inventors from Mexico will unveil the very first organic leather made entirely from the nopal, or prickly pear cactus, this week, offering a sustainable, stylish, and eco-friendly alternative to leather. According to a report from the Mind Unleashed, the 2 innovators will be traveling to the Linapel International Leather Trade Exhibition in Milan, Italy, on Wednesday, where they will present the innovative leather substitute to the world's top designers, in hopes that the product can become a staple in the luxury fashion industry. For 2 years, the 2 men worked on creating the leather alternative that they claim is not only environmentally sustainable and entirely plant-based, but is also breathable and lasts for at least a decade. The invention comes as consumers and brands increasingly turn away from inferior faux leathers made with petroleum-based plastics, which are hard to clean and far less breathable than genuine animal leather. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Friends of local man Carl Brewster told reporters this week they are all absolutely at a loss as to how he is not completely depressed.
I've known Carl for years now, and he really is a great guy, super nice. But honestly, I don't know how he doesn't go home and cry himself to sleep every night. I mean, walks dogs for a living and no one will ever date him. I really don't get it.
Saying that they were baffled at how their close friend managed to remain even moderately happy day in and day out given his life circumstances, sources confirmed they were regularly confronted with Carl's perplexingly gregarious and affable demeanor.
I mean, Carl's life really, really sucks, but somehow he manages to wave good morning to me every time I see him, and he always has this big smile on his face. Maybe he's on some kind of medication.
Things have always been really awful for Carl, but he's never really been depressed. I mean, I make 3 times as much money as him, and I'm totally miserable. Honestly, we all thought he would have killed himself by now, but he hasn't.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
Yeah, unafeared here and declare your independence from me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedoms of the National Phoenix.com. Oh, we got to pull that down. We'll do that, put that there, bring this here, do that. Somebody touched buttons. All right, there we go. All right, Donna is... give me my schedule here. All right, we have on Wednesday, we got Jackie Shore, a nurse from the Vaccination Education Summit we're going to talk about in a little bit. They have Dr. Judy, she spoke. Let's see, Jeff Kurdikas, uptrend. All right, you got a microphone there? Okay, which one is it? We'll talk into it.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good morning, hello.
Okay, it's one of these. There it is. Okay. Yeah, because one of the lines we had to the other one we took to the summit and didn't plug it in. Because I nicked it, getting it down. I shorted out the cable, so I got to use one of the other ones. All right, so you're on that one?
Guess so, yeah.
All right, there you go. All right. Jackie Shore.
She was a nurse we were talking about at lunch. We were talking with her, and she's an RN, and she was having issues with some of the things that they were doing, so now she has her own kind of thing that she does, doing natural medicine and things like that. So anyway, remember the lady we were talking to at lunch?
Yeah, okay. I remember I talked to somebody at the table at lunch.
I know, but that's the only way I can have you remember her.
All right. And then Thursday, Jeff Kurdikas.
I think he's a referral from Tim Pachote on Uptrend. I didn't have a chance to look at it.
All right. Glenn Kripe. Now, Glenn is Language of Liberty, is a retired stockbroker, I think, here. And he said, I'm going to do something for the grandma home country in Europe, and Slovakia or Slovenia, something. And a lot of Europe speaks English, especially the young people. So they call it Language of Liberty. So they do a bunch of John Locke and Hayek Mises or something. A lot of founding father kind of stuff, just giving the concept of what America is supposed to be about. And a lot of people go through this program. Started what they call the Arizona Project, that comes here with every year. They'll have about 4 or 5 months of 6 to 8 young people, usually in their 20s, early 30s, from around the world. And it's the reason I see them is the first thing I want to do, they want to go shooting. That's a whole other thing. We had a couple from Ireland, Barry and Emma came and visited, and they came here. We went to Canyon Lake, went to our time capsule so they could add something to it, which is like a thing.